45-year-old CPA Lynn Lemke is suing her ex-boyfriend, 47-year-old counselor John Mungo, for an unpaid loan to keep him out of jail, the return of a car, and an assault.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 256 on the calendar in the matter of Lemke versus Mungo. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Lemke, the defendant was a former boyfriend of yours. According to your complaint, he owes you for 3 things. He owes you for money that you loaned to him at one point when he was facing incarceration. He owes you for the value of a car, which you say you purchased, although it was in his name, it was supposed to be your car, and that he owes you for damages as a result of an assault that took place over a year ago. Is that right?
That's correct.
I assume that the loan that kept him out of jail was the first money that you're suing for. Is that right?
Yes.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding that loan.
John was, faced going to jail for child support arrearages, and the day that he was to appear in court, we took the bus up together, and then I overheard his, discussion with the DA and that he needed $750 to take him, out of jail, and we agreed that I would, loan him the money and that he would repay me when he was able to.
Well, how did that come about? What did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
Well, what I said to him was that I had $750. Just don't worry about it. You can repay me, when you're able to. I have $400 cash in my wallet, and we can go down to an ATM.
Tell me about, sir, your version of this $750, which you acknowledge that the plaintiff paid in order to keep you out of jail.
The $750, Lynn had offered to give me $700.
Tell me how it came about.
Oh, I'm just trying to do that.
No,
before we went to court, several days before she...
Look at me.
Yes, ma'am. She volunteered, said, I could give you some money to stay out. And I said, absolutely not. I don't want to do it because I would feel obligated. So a few days went by, and I was supposed to turn myself in. So we went, and then when we got into out in the hallway, the public defender said, well, do you have the money? I said, no, I don't. And he says, I have it. And he said, well, are you going to use it? I said, absolutely not. I don't want to, because I feel like I'm obligated. I cannot pay her back. And then she said, he said, well, do it. I said, no. So he left. And then he came back again and said, why don't you do it? And I said, well, and we thought about it. And I said, he convinced me to do it. I paid it, and then we went home, and that was it.
So it's not your fault, and it's not her fault. It's the public defender's fault.
No, she offered this money to me in front of Mr. Coleman here.
Just a second, but you said
yes.
that you declined to take it.
Yes, I did.
Because you would have felt obligated to repay it.
Yes.
And then you said that the district attorney or the public defender forced you to do it.
He did not force me. He coerced me into it.
He coaxed you
yes.
to do it, and you did it.
Yes.
And I assume, therefore, that your initial reason for not wanting to take the money in the first place still held true, that you would have felt obligated to repay it. That's what you just told me.
That's correct.
So you took the money, and I assume you still felt obligated to repay it.
I did?
Well, then I'm asking you that. What happened, sir, between the time you walked into the courthouse, when you would have felt obligated to repay the money if the plaintiff gave you the money, and the time you actually took the money?
She told me it was a gift. And I would not have to pay her.
That is...
Absolutely.
No.
Well, Mr. Coleman
here
heard her say it in his house.
Just a second, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
She never used the words gift. This is a gift that I'm making to you,
yes,
John.
Yes, she did.
No. She never did.
Well, that's not what she's telling you.
That's not what I believe.
Oh.
I would believe it if you told me, because I don't know if I'd believe anything you told me. I certainly wouldn't believe it if he told to me. I'm telling you, she didn't give you the money. She may have said to you, I want you to take it, and you can pay me back when you can.
Yes.
That she might have said. All right, let's move on to number 2. Let's move on to car. How much did you purchase this car for?
$625.
$625. So it wasn't a Jaguar?
No.
And it wasn't a brand new car?
Absolutely not.
And you had no driver's license?
That's correct.
So you purchased the car, and you put the car in his name?
Not at the time of purchase, but yes, eventually.
When did you purchase the car?
June 29th.
What were you going to do with a car that you couldn't drive?
Well, I had wanted a car for a long time, as
just to look at it?
friends had known. Of course not.
Well, what were you going to do with it?
Have other people drive it for me so that I could get around until I have a driver's license.
So you must have discussed with him driving you around.
No, not necessarily Mr. Mungo, my roommate John Coleman.
Oh.
And no decision had been made whether it even be either one of these persons, people.
Whatever. You put the car ultimately in his name. Tell me
correct.
when.
It was in July.
So you went down to Motor Vehicles and put the car, after you had it for some time, in the defendant's name.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Mungo, according to you, there came a time when plaintiff came to reside with you in your home. Is that right?
Yes.
When was that?
Let me see here. I have the date right here. It's on the bill of sale that we used, a copy of the bill of sale that we used for the transfer of the automobile, which was dated 7/18/2000.
That's when she came to live with you?
Yes, came to stay with me.
How long did she stay with you?
2 months and 5 days.
And according to you, Mr. Mungo, your arrangement was that she could live with you rent-free and give you the car.
Correct.
Ms. Lemke, did you pay any rent? Ms. Lemke, pay attention.
No, I did not, and I do not remember that document at all.
Should look at me. Could you look at me?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
And was it about the time you went to live with him because you had problems with your old roommate? That's why you
Well, he
moved out.
locked me out of the house, and but
Your old roommate locked you out of the house.
Yes.
And you went to live with Mr. Mungo. And at the same time that you went to live with Mr. Mungo, was that the time you went down to motor vehicles and transferred the title to the car to his name? That's what he says.
No, when I went to live with Mr. Mungo, I was only going there for some place to sleep the night I was locked out.
But you stayed for 2 months.
That's correct. I contracted bronchitis, had severe pneumonia in
All the time you were in
August.
Mr. Mungo's house.
Yes, I was.
And you did not pay any rent.
While I was taking care of her.
Shh. You did not pay any rent.
No, but I bought food and whatever, yeah.
You did
no,
not pay
I
any-
paid no rent, no.
Oh, okay. And he took care of you when you were sick.
No,
Who took care of you?
I took care of myself.
Okay. Let's get to item number 3. Tell me about this alleged assault. When did it take place?
September 11th.
What happened on September 11th?
I mentioned something about the car, which the subject I would avoid because of his fiery temper whenever the subject came up. There'd been a lot of verbal abuse.
So you started to talk about the car. He didn't want to talk about the car.
He ran from the back of his house in a fiery rage and punched me as a boxer's punch right here.
You have a police report.
The police said that a police report could not be issued.
Police issue a police report when there's an assault. Do you have any photographs of your injuries as a result of the assault?
Yes, I do.
Can I see them, please?
That was a couple weeks later. This is about 5 weeks later. 6 maybe.
Okay, let me hear your version of what happened on this date on September 11th.
Well, Miss Lemke is an alcoholic, and she was drinking 24/7 every day for 2 months. Her idea of being sick
For the 2 months that she was living with you?
Yes. For her idea of being sick with bronchitis is drinking a 1.7 liter of Jack Daniels and barfing all over the place. I had my son at my house. He was, I believe, 3 years old, and she was told when he's around and you're drinking, please do not talk to him and leave him alone. We were in the bathroom, and she came in and she grabbed me by the arms. She was shaking me and screaming at me, and I could see the fillings in her teeth. And I broke loose from her, and I went outside. And before I went outside, my little boy was hitting her on the leg like this, saying, stop. He could see that there was this anger, and it was getting him upset. So we went outside, and my little boy kept trying to protect me, and then she went to grab him. And as she grabbed him, he kind of turned upside down, and she spiraled down into the brick fence, and he kind of kicked her in the face. And
Oh my God, that's an outright lie.
basically, I just was horrified. I said, oh, you've got to go. I didn't want her to be there anymore. And she kept
I
wondering.
don't know why she was there in the first place, sir.
She was there because she was so combative with John. He couldn't have
don't know
her
why she
living
was
at his house anymore. He locked her out.
So she had other places to go. She could rent a room someplace. Go
Yes,
to
she
why?
could.
So why was she living with you, sir? You tell me she's an alcoholic. You had
I
your
wanted my
3-year-old
car
son.
back.
I think
That's
she was
what I
crazy
wanted,
mad
and
in
I
love
was
with me,
sick.
to tell you the truth.
Well,
We were having a torrid love affair.
You were having a torrid love affair
At
with
times.
somebody who you say was a complete alcoholic? When you have a torrid love affair with someone who is blind on Jack Daniels for 2 straight months?
How?
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Not for you, maybe. Not for you, maybe. Okay. What happened as a result of this assault? Were you ever contacted by the police?
Police, well, when after this happened, I picked, my son was supposed to go home to his mother. I spent the night over there. I didn't want to come back home. And apparently the police came out, and the policeman said, I think, ma'am, you must have fallen off the porch and hurt yourself.
Don't tell me what the police said to her.
He was there to hear it.
This is
Hearsay.
unbelievable.
Okay. Hearsay?
Hearsay.
Oh,
This is
okay. Oh, yes.
you're despicable.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Quite frankly, Miss Lemke, if someone had assaulted me, causing this kind of injury,
Yes.
then there would have been a police report, there would have been a police prosecution for domestic violence. And
2 weeks
cannot
later, I went to jail for domestic violence, Your Honor.
And I cannot understand, madam, why you would not follow up on this case that happened over a year ago. Why?
I've been sick for months.
Okay, you're going to get your $750 bail money back. You are not going to get your car back because I do believe Mr. Mungo, and believe me, it was a real stretch because it's hard to believe him about a lot of things. I do believe that he agreed to have you live there rent-free in exchange for the $625 car that you would put in his name anyway. As far as your request for damages with regard to the assault, I am not quite sure how this happened. And it is quite possible that you were, in fact, intoxicated at the time, and you're not sure how it happened either. So this is the judgment of the court. You keep the car, and you give her $750 for the bail money. You got me? Good. That's all.
Parties are. Yeah, this is case number 258 on the calendar, the matter of Pearson versus Carrico. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Pearson, the defendant is your daughter.
Correct.
And your stepdaughter, sir.
That's right. We call her daughter because we've always called daughter, never used the word step.
But you are not her biological father.
Right.
Did she always live with you?
No, ma'am.
Who did she live with?
When John and I got married in 1998, she was a senior in high school, and she didn't want to leave her senior year in high school to move to Florida with us. So I let her live with her grandparents, her father's parents.
So she lived with her paternal grandparents.
Correct.
Last year in high school. Then, according to your papers, she came to live in Florida with you.
She moved out with her grandparents, and then she moved in with her father, and then she got mad at her father, and she left her father, and she was living from friend to friend to friend to friend's house. She didn't have a permanent address.
Whatever, so she came to live with you.
Then she came to live with us, correct.
Your complaint says that she owes you for certain things, because evidently she didn't stay in your house very long. She moved out, and while she was there, she had some dental work. So you say she owes you for her dental work?
Correct.
She owes you for some car insurance?
Correct.
And telephone bill. Okay. When did you go and live with your parents?
June of this year. I moved down there because my mother was sick and I wanted to make a new beginning for myself, so I moved down there to help my mother.
But things weren't going so smoothly for you.
Well, when I moved down there, I did not know anybody, and
No. When you were living with your father and your grandparents, things weren't going so smoothly, is my question.
My stepmother just caused a lot of problems between me and my father.
Did there come a time then that you moved out of your father's house? Were you living with various friends for a while?
I lived with 2 roommates.
Now, you came down in June, and then you started to have some problems with your teeth. Tell me about it.
I moved down there and I started having excruciating pain in my mouth and swelling, and my mother agreed to take me to the dentist.
Just answer my questions. When was this that you started to have this excruciating pain?
About 2 weeks after I moved down there.
And how old were you at that time?
20.
Were you working?
Not at that time, no.
So you took her to the dentist,
Correct.
and she had what kind of problem?
She had wisdom teeth impacted, and one of them in particular, but they all needed to come out.
So what did you tell her?
So it was my husband's thing. He said, we can't leave her in pain. You know?
Absolutely.
He said, Amanda made a big deal, Your Honor, about being emancipated. So she got herself emancipated the year before. So we told her, you emancipated yourself, you're responsible for your own bills.
Just a second. Tell me about the dentist. What did you say to your daughter about taking care of the teeth?
We told our daughter before we took her to the dentist that we agreed to take her to the dentist to help her. We also told her it was not a gift, it was a loan. She would have to start paying us back when she got a job.
Did that happen?
They told me that I would have to pay them back, and I said, I cannot afford it. I will wait for my insurance for my new job. And they said, no, we cannot leave you in
that's not
pain.
true.
That we would help you, and when we're down the road, when we're old and need bread and Velveeta cheese, as John said, I could pay them back that way by getting that for them.
What kind of job were you expecting?
I was waiting to hear back from a physician's complex as a referral coordinator, Your Honor.
Did you get that job?
Yes, I did.
Are you
And
still
lost
working
it.
there now?
No, I
she
do not.
lost it.
Shh. Okay. Now tell me about the car.
Okay. Amanda was working for this major physician's place in Orlando. I've been very ill and been diagnosed with some severe medical problems, but I was getting up every day, taking her back and forth to work, picking her up from work. My husband thought it was taking too big of a stress on me, and it truly was. So we agreed, we talked to Amanda because at this point in time, she was doing everything. She was going to work, she was paying off her bills in Indiana, she was doing, basically what she needed to do as a responsible young adult. So she could not get a car on her own. And so my husband and I, we did not want our name on the title of the car. So therefore, we chose not to co-sign a loan for her because she has wrecked so many automobiles in the past, and we didn't want to be sued as she wrecked this one. So we took money out of our savings. And
How much?
$7,700 some dollars.
$7,700 and some odd dollars.
And you purchased her a car.
We purchased her a car with the 3-year warranty, bumper to bumper.
And that was clearly a gift.
No, ma'am, that was
Well, that's what I thought parents were for.
It's not part of this suit because it's a contract agreement.
what she signed.
And-
Okay.
So,
So
she
you
agreed to
purchased
pay
this car.
$254 to us a month for her car payment, just like she would if she borrowed from a bank or lending institution. And we even only charged her the interest that we was losing off our savings account. We wasn't making money off of her or nothing, just the interest we lost off the savings. So she had a very low interest rate. She has yet to make one payment.
I don't feel that I need to.
Well, I'm not getting into the car. because the car is something that you say is not part of this suit, but certainly you are claiming the insurance.
Correct.
Did you pay the full year's insurance at
Yes,
one time?
before, because in the state of Florida, you have to have at least 2 months worth of insurance before you can even take the car off the lot. There again, she had no money.
So how much did you lay out for the insurance?
The insurance came to $404.26.
Okay. And the last bill is the phone bill.
Oh, Your Honor. Your Honor, my daughter loves to talk. There's no doubt about it. When she was living in Indiana, my father co-signed to get her a cell phone bill. She ran it up to over $600. That's on her credit
That cell
report.
phone bill was that much because I kept the contract.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
So when she came down here to live with us, she started getting involved with the internet people. And this is why she's mad, because she got involved with people off the internet, and she would call them constantly on the phone. Three-way calling, regular calling, whatever. And she ran our phone bill up to a grand total of $690.32.
No.
Then, Your Honor, she had the audacity before she left to say, well, she paid $100 before, and then she says, she wrote us a check, and right here it is, $250, and then she gave us $50 in cash, and then she was going to pay us the rest. She stopped payment on the check.
Because of the way I was being treated. I do not feel that
so
my mother should sit there and let my stepfather call me a slut and tell me that he thinks the only reason I'm on the internet is because I'm so hard up for sex that I have to meet people off the internet. And when I looked at him and told him I was not a slut, he goes, well, it doesn't sound like that to me. And then time after time told me that I do not deserve to live in their house, that I belong out on the streets, and he's this close from kicking me out where I belong.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly and John Pearson are suing Kimberly's daughter, Amanda Carrico, for unpaid bills. Amanda says they filed the lawsuit because they don't agree with her lifestyle.
Okay. Sounds to me as if when you came down to live with your mom and your stepfather, they really tried to do what was right in order to get you on your feet. You're 20 years old, still a baby. You have to understand that, Ms. Pearson. Still a baby.
Correct.
20, going on 12. I want to tell you something. I have tremendous sympathy for you with regard to two of the bills that you talk about. One of them is for the car insurance.
Correct.
And one of them is for the phone bill.
Right.
Because God knows I've seen some of those in my time. Not mine. Me, take care of your business, no adjectives, no adverbs. You finish your conversation, you go, but I've had teenagers, and they can sit and talk about the color of the moon for 6 hours. I don't have a heck of a lot of sympathy over the dental bill, and I'm going to tell you why. Because as a parent, even when you're talking about a 20-year-old child, she doesn't have any money, and she's in excruciating pain. You don't first negotiate with her that when she gets a job, she's going to pay you back for this dental work, or even put her in a position of saying to you, listen, I'll wait and won't have my wisdom teeth, my impacted wisdom teeth pulled until after I can get insurance. You take care of the bill because that's what you have to do because you're a parent.
Your Honor, let me explain, though.
Sure.
Please, on the dental bill, Amanda made such a big issue of getting herself emancipated so that she could get something for nothing.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, I can tell you, she had a scholarship in Indiana to go to any university in the state of Indiana. It's called a 21st Century Scholar. And she basically failed out of the first semester.
Okay.
Okay?
No.
And so she messed up. She got mad because John and I made too much money for her to qualify for federal and state money. And so we let her dad use her dad's income when she applied the second semester for the money. Her dad made too much money. Well, she'll show us she's going to get emancipated, and then if she's got a court document that says she's emancipated, she automatically qualifies for federal money because she doesn't make hardly any money. So there again, she goes to try to get something for nothing.
Well.
But see, then
nothing.
then this little lady, you know, she goes and she takes and she takes and she takes.
Ms. Pearson, listen to me.
She's got to stop taking.
Just a second. Are you telling me that the reason your daughter didn't go to college is because she didn't get scholarship?
She went to college.
She
I
went
went
to
to
college,
Yeah.
but she
She
flunked
failed.
out.
No, I did not flunk out.
Well, 1.0 GPA, Amanda, is flunking.
That's not my GPA.
Was below a 2.
Hey. No.
She wasn't there.
What my husband did for her is she said she didn't want to move to Florida because she earned this scholarship and she had to live in Indiana. My husband told her that's bull. He said, you're not limited to Indiana. Amanda, if you want to move down with your mother, he said, I'll pay your way to any college you want to go. I will pay your way. Offered that
Your
to
Honor,
her.
he would have asked me to pay that back as well.
No, we wouldn't have. We offered that to her.
Okay, let's get to the dental bill. I don't think it's right for you to say to her as a parent, which is what's causing this conflict, you have to pay for this dental work that was done, even though you had no money at the time. I cannot imagine myself saying that to any of my 20-year-old children. If they were in excruciating pain, having a discussion with them before I took them to the dentist about paying me back once I started working, or else I wasn't going to pay for the bill. I cannot imagine. Quite frankly, I
wasn't a what
cannot
if.
imagine that.
Your Honor,
It wasn't a what
That,
if.
to me, that's not.
It wasn't a what if, Your Honor. It was just another point to say, Amanda, okay, We have bailed her out so much. We have bought her so much, bailed her out of her bad check debt. She's got 3 cases in Indiana against her. She's got bad checks all over Florida.
Miss Pearson,
but
I'm
Your Honor,
sympathetic.
what you got to understand, we can't bail her out anymore. She wants to be emancipated and be on her own and be the big girl. Then by George,
Your
step
Honor.
up to the plate and be the big girl.
Well, she's got to be on her own
If
with
they feel
regard
like
to
they keep
what?
giving and giving and giving, and I don't, and I just keep taking and I don't give anything back, then why didn't they quit giving so much long ago if they felt that way?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Don't act immature. Not here.
That's fine.
It's clear to me that you've gone through a long period of immaturity. Not bad. Immaturity. You've taken on financial responsibilities and you've defaulted on those financial responsibilities that your parents, mother, stepfather, father, have at various times come in and bailed you out of those problems that you had. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have a sense that your mother wouldn't be here today if you weren't assuming a posture of, for want of a better word, arrogance. You did move out of their house.
Yes.
In the home of somebody that you met on the internet.
Yes,
Is that
Your
a fair
Honor.
statement?
Yes.
Okay. As a parent, I'm going to tell you that a parent says, what kind of craziness is that? They worry about it. They think it's not responsible. You don't know this person really other than having a conversation with them over that machine. You may meet them a couple of times. Now, I hope it works out. It's
It's worked out wonderfully.
Well, for the moment, it's working out wonderful. 6 months from now, I'll see you here and the person here. Trust me on that. Okay. I don't think that your parents are here just because they want money. I think that they're here because they want a certain measure of responsible behavior. And if you ran up a phone bill like that, and if you're driving around in a car and they cover the insurance for the first couple of months, that to me is totally different from taking care of an emergency dental bill.
The dentist was going to let it wait until she got her insurance, but I just
They
couldn't
insisted.
stand to see her in that much pain.
Absolutely
And
right.
I said to her, Amanda, I can't take it. If you're in pain, we'll take care of it now.
Good. That's what I figured you'd say. Because that's what a parent says.
We love our daughter, Your Honor. We
I
love her enough to
assume
let her
that you
hate us
do.
right
I
now.
assume that you do, and
If
you just
do,
don't
then
understand.
You would let that man
what-
say what he said about me, about calling me a slut and calling me street trash.
That's not true.
May I
numerous
say
times.
something, Judge?
Who are you?
I'm Jean.
I know Eugene. Who are you?
Okay.
How are you related to this case?
I'm a friend of Kim and John's. And
No, you can't say anything.
Okay.
I don't think that anything that you have to say will make anything any better between the two of them, and that's quite frankly what I'm trying to do. Make things better between the two of them, not make things worse between the two of them with more accusations. Right now, Ms. Pearson has, quite honestly, at this point, acknowledged the fact that she said to her daughter, I can't stand to see you in pain. Go have the dental work done, and I'll take care of it, because that's what a mother does. I think the insurance on your car is something different, and I think that you should pay them back for that. And I think that the phone bill that you ran up, you should pay them back. And you didn't tell me that you stopped payment on this check that you gave them.
I did because of the way they were treating me, and when I went to get my stuff, it required 3 police officers for me to go get my stuff, because when
Oh,
I
no.
arrived to get my
No, no, no.
mail, my mother and my stepfather informed me I needed to get my mail and leave, and I needed to sign this $76 check that was left over from the insurance they paid. I signed it
No,
over to
that's the
him.
tax,
I
ma'am.
had
We bought your tax.
$131 payroll check, which they had opened, along with my ATM card, my ATM PIN code, and my license plate and registration of my car that they had opened with my name on it.
Man,
And
you moved out 3 weeks
told
ago.
me-
If you didn't want us to
No,
get
no,
your
no,
mail,
no.
stop payment on it. I mean,
Told me
stop it.
before
Miss Pearson?
I left the house that unless I signed that payroll check over to them, they wouldn't even consider giving me my stuff.
That's not
and
true.
they said if I do not leave,
That's not true,
they're
ma'am.
not asking me
No,
to leave,
Miss
they're
Pearson.
telling me to leave.
Miss
And
Pearson.
that they will call the law. And I said, that's fine. I went to walk to my room, and my stepfather got up off the couch and came toward me, and I have no doubt he would have done something about it.
Amanda,
And
he
she
didn't
was
even
there.
move.
Miss Pearson,
She was there.
Don't speak to her. She's made up this thing in her head, and you're not going to get it out of her head right now. Amanda, you have one mother. You will have one mother your whole life. Before they moved to Florida, did you live with your mother?
Yes,
And you lived with your mother for how long?
for all my life.
And she took care of you?
To the best she could. Yes, she did.
And then when you decided to stay, she kept in touch with you while you were living with your grandparents?
Off and on, causing problems and stuff. But yes,
Well, that's your perception of it. Kept in touch with you when you were living with your father?
a little.
And during that time, you were having some problems.
Yes.
And then when push came to shove, they said, come down. They took out almost $8,000 and bought a car for you. Now, the fact that they expected you to pay for that once you got a job, that's not unreasonable. So I don't think that your mom's a bad gal. I think that she's probably wrong for having brought this matter to a court. But I think she has a certain frustration because I assume since you moved out, you haven't spoken to each other.
No.
But when push comes to shove and you need a kidney, you only have one mother. The mother and stepfather, they're going to take care of your dental work because that's what I think that they intended to do anyway. And I sort of believe the statement about Velveeta cheese that you made a little while ago. You know, when we're old and we need you, you'll pay us back. But I think that you're responsible to take care of the car insurance on a car that you're currently driving and for a phone bill that you racked up. I also think that you might want to take this opportunity to at least open up a dialogue with your mom. You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, one, I have a 14-year-old that's living with them, which they informed me that they were going to keep away from me by putting a restraining order against me for.
Okay. Things are hot. You got to bring them down a decimal. You got to look around where you are today and say there are a lot of terrible things going on in this world today. And these irritations that I'm having compared to everything else that's going on really don't amount to anything. And the importance of family, the importance of staying together and being close to each other and having each other for support is really the most important thing you can do now. Otherwise, you're alone. So I have a sense that's really what your mother wants, and that's why she brought you here, maybe to open up a little bit of a dialogue. So, Amanda, you're young. Young people take longer to get over anger, especially when they feel as if they've been disrespected. Trust me, just think about thousands of people that don't have an opportunity to make up with their mothers. Okay? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,094, which represents the phone bill as well as the $404 for insurance. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step 16 on the calendar in the matter of O'Connor versus Butler. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Miss O'Connor, I've read your complaint very carefully. Last June, you became ill and you were hospitalized. And you developed some severe complications. You have a child, a boy. How old is your boy?
He's 8.5.
When you went into the hospital, you left your son with your father. With whom?
My 2 sons, and there's another older teenager.
They were clearly unable to take care of him because your father, at some point, gave guardianship of your son to your cousins who were the defendants. Is that right?
Yes.
When was that? When did you take physical custody of the boy?
August 19th.
You were released when in August?
The 30th of August.
Then there was some issue as to whether they were going to give you the child back. On what day did you actually turn custody back over to the mother?
November 17th, 2000.
Your claim is as follows, Miss O'Connor. You say that about a year and a half or so ago, you sold your cousins 2 Cocker Spaniels and they've never paid you. The second part of your claim is you say that they didn't return some of your son's clothing when they finally turned custody back over to you. That's your claim. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Let's deal with the dogs first. When did you give the dogs to the Butlers?
It was around June, early June.
June of what year?
2000, I believe.
How old were the dogs?
One was 2 and one was 4. It was a mother and daughter.
Why could you no longer care for these 2 dogs?
Her dog, Bucky, was a Cocker Spaniel, and it died. So this is the reason why I didn't give it to her. She said she'd pay me back. She would pay me.
I'm asking you a question. You've got 2 dogs, 2 and 4 years old, that are living with you, that I assume you're attached to. Why did you get rid of the dogs?
She told me she'd have a better home for them and that she could groom them herself. It was very expensive to groom them for me because I had it done.
So that's why you weren't able to take care of the dogs. You didn't want to do the grooming anymore.
Right.
Right. Now, what makes you think, first of all, these dogs are worth $200 a piece, which is what you...
$375 for the mother.
Yes.
And sold her puppies for $250.
So?
That's what I bought the dog for.
Okay. I'll hear you. Go ahead. Let's hear about the dogs first.
As far as the dogs, we were there on a Sunday. She was about ready to put the dogs in the paper. And I told her I would take them. Yes, Bucky did pass away. But that's not why I wanted them. It's because they needed a home.
Well, what was she going to put them in the paper for?
To sell them for money. My husband was there and my daughter was there as witnesses. She says, go ahead and take the dogs. They're very neglected. She couldn't take care of them anymore.
Nobody buys a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old dog, madam, for $200 a piece. That's where you read for adoption. Can't take care of them anymore. These are adult dogs. Let's leave the dogs for a second. You went into the hospital. You've got 2 sons. You've got somebody else. How come your child ended up with your cousins?
My father took it upon himself. He didn't say, can I have them or anything. He took them out of the home. He dumped out 7 full-size drawers of Gable's clothes.
There must have been a reason for that, Miss O'Connor. How old are your sons?
20, 18, and 8.5.
20 and 18?
Yes.
So your father probably was using his brain and figured out that your 8-year-old wasn't being properly taken care of by your 20-year-old son and your 18-year-old son. Don't you think that's possible?
He was going to school every day.
Miss O'Connor, what do you possibly think motivated your father to come and take him out of the house when the mother isn't there and you got 2 teenage boys in the house in charge of an 8-year-old? What do you think your father was thinking? He wanted to do something to spite you?
Yes.
Yes? You the 2 sons?
I'm one of them.
Which one, 18 or 20?
18.
Step up. Were you there when your grandfather came and took your little brother?
Yes, I was.
Tell me about that. Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, he said we wouldn't be able to afford food for him, so he would come and take him and bring him into a better home where they could take care of him a little bit better.
And what did you say?
I said, okay.
Good. Sit down. By the way, were you working?
No.
What about your 20-year-old brother? Was he working?
Not at the time.
So how were you living?
On what was in the kitchen.
That's why your father took your son, turned him over to cousins who took care of him.
But wouldn't give him back.
Well, evidently they felt as if he had been a little neglected, madam.
Yes, ma'am. They wouldn't give him back.
Ultimately, a court gave him back to you, is that right?
Yes.
But not right away.
I had to go through 3 courts.
But not right away.
Right.
While you were in the hospital, you say that they took care of him for 3 weeks. Did you thank them?
Yes.
When did you thank them?
Over the phone.
Did you say, do I owe you any money?
She got his checks.
What checks?
His Social Security. His father had died.
Yes.
My husband died. So he got the Social Security
Right.
money. That's what she was getting.
How many Social Security checks did you get? Yes.
Ma'am, I've had him since August 19th. I didn't get paid until October, November. All of August and September, I did it from my heart.
How did you manage to get a check for October?
I went to Rancho Cucamonga Police Department and went to court. They gave me temporary custody. That's what opened the doors for that boy.
Month of August, month of September, she got no money. Where were his checks going in August and September?
August, I'm in the hospital. I got it August. I got one September.
Where did the money go?
In my bank account.
Well, why didn't you send them the money?
I wasn't talking to her by then. She couldn't talk to me. Okay. She got too hostile.
All right. A, let's forget about the dogs. You gave the dogs away because you couldn't take care of them. Ages 2 and 4 years old. Not worth $400 or $500. Absolutely not. And not only that, but you didn't even ask for them back.
Yes, I did.
When? When?
When she started talking to me when I had child visitations with my son Gabriel.
When you were angry with her?
I wasn't angry. She was angry.
When you were angry with her because she wouldn't give your son back?
She was angry that I got visitations to my son to take him every Saturday. And that's a 2.5-hour drive.
So that's when you asked for your dogs back?
Yeah, she only had one. The other one she sold.
Did you sell?
I gave her away because she had a howling problem.
Who did you give the dog to?
It was a lady in the newspaper.
I would like the dogs back.
Well, you can't have them back. Gave them away. All right, let's talk about clothes. What clothes do you say they have?
My dad emptied out in trash bags 7 full-size drawers, socks, underwear, everything was taken.
Right.
And when I finally won the last battle, November 17th, I got 2 trash bags, 2 little trash bags of clothes. Plus, it was his birthday. I bought him all kinds of stuffed toys and everything, and I didn't see any of that come back.
How much does Gabriel get from Social Security?
$557
a month.
Yes.
Okay. That's about $1,100 for the 2 months that your son was with them that you put in your bank, right? You put that money in your bank, right? Money that was supposed to go for the support. I'm speaking. Money that was supposed to go for the support of the child, you put in your checking account.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathy O'Connor is suing her cousins, Linda and Lonnie Butler, for the cost of 2 Cocker Spaniels and the return of property.
You took your son's money and you put it in your bank account. So if you have to buy more clothes for him, go buy more clothes for him. Do you think I'm going to get involved in underwear, 6 pairs of underwear, 3 pairs of shoes, a pair of sneakers? I have no intention of doing that. As far as I'm concerned, when somebody takes charge of your child because you're incapable of doing it, what do you want?
The thing is, when my grandpa came over, he said he was going to take care of him.
What difference does it make? You're 18? If you were grown up and mature and responsible, and it's the summertime, one of you goes out, gets a job, act responsibly so that your grandfather wouldn't have had to worry about your 8-year-old brother. You weren't going to do it, and she's in the hospital.
He was fine.
Oh, yeah, he was fine. I don't believe that a grandfather comes over and takes it upon himself to remove a baby, little boy, 8 years old, from a house where he thinks the child is thriving.
He was getting fed.
What do you want? Who are you?
Why isn't he? I'm Linda's son. Why isn't he here to testify about this?
I have no idea why he's not here. Maybe nobody brought him here. All I'm telling you is,
Maybe he doesn't want
she
to
didn't take... You're whose son?
Linda's son.
Her son.
Her son?
Yes.
Were you available to take care of the 8-year-old?
At the time, I didn't know about it. I was overseas.
So what do you know now?
What I know now?
What do you know now?
About the situation going on where she had kidnapped a child.
Sit down. There was a court order, sir, when the court had at least some facts before it.
Some manipulation.
I'm speaking, which gave them temporary custody. Now, in order to establish that you're going to give a child to biological strangers, at least not a mother and father, that there has to be some overriding neglect or abuse or abandonment. And unless you can prove any of those 3 things, long-term neglect, abuse, or abandonment, the child has to go back to the biological parent, even if the biological parent is not so terrific. Clearly, a court in October, when faced with certain facts, said, we want to take a more careful look at this situation before we return this child, so they gave them temporary custody. As far as I'm concerned, there should be a thank you here instead of a lawsuit. Your case is dismissed, that's all.
Thank you, Judge.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you. To me, the evil snake needs to go on with her life.
He's not the same kid anymore.
He's a very neglected child.
And now the next case.
All parties on Briscoe versus Briscoe. Step forward, please.
47-year-old administrator Beverly Briscoe is suing her ex-husband, 49-year-old hairstylist Adolph Briscoe, for illegally repossessing her car. Adolph is countersuing for car payments, the cost of insurance, and credit card bills.
Ms. Briscoe, the defendant is your former husband.
Yes, he is.
You were married but have been divorced for many years.
Yes.
And to your credit, according to both of you, I assume, you've remained friends.
Yes, we did.
Good. And then you did a very foolish thing. You decided to buy a car from him.
Yes, I did.
Here goes the trouble. When did you decide to purchase the car?
On March the 15th.
Of this year?
Of this year.
You purchased the car for $8,000 in total.
Yes.
$4,000 was to go to Mr. Briscoe.
Yes.
The other $4,000 was what was outstanding on the loan.
Yes.
You did not change the loan to put it in her name. She was going to make the payments herself.
Yes, ma'am.
So you first paid him a total of
$1,500 on the 15th of March.
Oh, and then you made an additional payment to him. On what
Yes,
date?
On the 29th, I gave him $500. On April the 12th, I gave him $500. On April the 28th, I gave him $500.
That is
On
not
May
so.
the 12th, I gave him another $500. I have everything down here with my bank statements and everything.
Okay, let me see your bank statement. No, just take out your bank statement, don't. Just give me the whole portfolio.
And the days that I got paid, and Mr. Briscoe I had written down the dates that I got paid.
All right. So in total, you claim you gave him $3,500.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to what I've read, you made an additional 2 payments to the bank.
Yes.
And then in the 3rd month, he claims you were late in the car payment, and he came and repossessed the car.
Yes, a day late. I didn't breach my contract with Mr. Briscoe. He was very upset at me because someone that I chose to be in my life, and this is the person here.
I don't care. I put the picture away. I don't care who you chose to be in your life.
But that's why he was upset, and he chose to come get the car from me on the 21st of May.
When is the car payment due?
On the 20th.
On the 20th.
Had you mailed the payment in?
I was getting ready to mail it on the 20th.
So you hadn't mailed it in?
No, I haven't.
So they weren't going to get it at least for another 2 or 3
Yes,
days?
and the month before that, I mailed it on the 26th. He didn't give me a call then. That's when we were still friends.
Did she give you $3,500?
No, she did not.
How much did she give you, sir?
She gave me $2,500.
Well, this doesn't show. This just shows that you took out money.
I have money orders on the back.
Money orders?
Yes, $500.
Just a minute, I have 5, 10, 15.
And the other 2 I gave him
$1,500.
cash. I can't show you anything because I gave him cash the first 2 times. He know that I gave him $1,500. Then I gave on the 29th, I gave him...
Was it $1,500 in cash, sir?
Yes, it was.
Then I have 3 money orders made out to you in the amount of $500 each, which brings the total on this to $3,000, not $2,500.
Then I am $500 off.
When I gave him $1,500, that was
He
cash.
acknowledges that you gave him the $1,500
But he can't
in
remember
cash.
the other, on the 29th, he can't remember
Maybe
that
not.
also. No.
Okay, it's $3,000. The 2 car payments that you made to him, you drove the car.
Yes.
For those 2
I don't
months.
want the money back for that.
Fine.
Because I drove the car.
Okay, now let's get to your counterclaim, Mr. Briscoe. According to you, several years ago you weren't feeling well, and your former wife came to take care of you, and you were feeling very benevolent towards her. So you decided to give her a credit card to help her out, or a
Yes.
couple of credit cards to help
Yes.
her out. Tell me about these credit cards. Did you take
Yes, he
credit
gave
cards
me the
from him?
credit cards. He gave them to me in December. I have payments that I made each month to the credit card place. Adolph eventually turned them off. I have a tape that he said he's going to cut everything off when we had the argument on April the 20th.
So how much do you owe on the credit cards?
I owed, I believe on one of them I owe like maybe $900.
And on the other one?
Probably about 2 or 3.
How much does she owe on the credit cards?
She owes $1,500 total.
Show me.
On
Just show me. She may not be 100% right. She's not so far off.
And Judge Judy, he turned them off, so I couldn't make arrangements to pay them.
Okay.
Because they said they cut off, they're closed, lost credit cards. I couldn't make any arrangement. He closed them out.
$1,250 said.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you want her to pay what else, sir?
There's another credit card as well for $500, which I have told I have paid $200.
No, I have to see the balance. I have to see her balance on that credit card.
They were going to send me all of that, and they didn't send it in
Well,
time.
I can't help you with that,
Okay.
And
sir.
Judge Judy, they'll just do $29. And Adolph, if he would have turned it off, I could pay that.
You owe him the money.
Okay.
My question to you, Mr. Briscoe,
Yes.
is why didn't you give her back the money she had paid you? You took the car back.
Right.
Do you think you're entitled to keep the $3,000 that she paid you for
Absolutely,
the car?
I have.
Shh. So the answer is yes. You think you're entitled to keep that money?
Absolutely.
Well, explain to me why, sir.
Your Honor, when they collect your car and you don't pay your payments, no one gives you any money
you were
back.
late for 2 months when I took care of
Miss
you.
Briscoe.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to hear you when he's speaking. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You are not Ford Motor Corporation.
I am the one that's responsible for the car.
You are not Ford Motor Corporation. If after
So
2
she
months,
drives
sir,
my
I'm
car for
speaking,
3 months?
try not to speak over me, Mr. Briscoe, you will be unsuccessful. If she paid you $3,000, and I'm discounting the money she says she gave you in cash because she has no
She didn't
proof
give
of
me
that.
any money. Yes.
I'm speaking. If she gave you $3,000 and you took the car back within 2 months, you don't get to keep her $3,000. 3 months.
Yes.
You don't get to keep her $3,000. In addition, for the car payments she made, part of that went towards your principal on your loan. That helped you out a little bit, but she drove the car, and I'm not going to get into the pennies that it was to pay off a certain percentage of the loan over the 2 months period, but you certainly came out on top with regard to that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand, absolutely.
Well, if he doesn't understand, if you have time, you'll explain it to him outside. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,788, which deducts what you own for the credit card. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 230 on the calendar in the matter of Thomas versus Thomas. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Thomas, the defendant is your former husband, and according to your complaint, he purposefully vandalized your car. When did he do this?
August the 5th.
Where were you?
When the incident happened,
Yes.
I was at his mother's house.
Did he live there as well?
Yes, he does live there.
When were you divorced?
We are not divorced legally.
Because in your complaint, you say, my ex-husband. So he's not your ex-husband,
Well,
he's your husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have children?
Yes, we do.
How many children do you have? 2?
2 boys.
And you maintain a reasonable relationship with his family?
Somewhat.
What were you doing at his house?
His sister called me that morning to come over.
For what?
We was friends. Me and his sister was good friends. She had called me. Previous to that, me and Marcus was on the phone, had an heated argument over the phone. I seen the kids with his father the day before that, and I didn't like the way that they had looked, what they had on. And so when I called him up, I know how we can't really get along. So I said, before you get mad or anything like that, you know how I am, before we argue, you know, I just want to ask you a question. And that's exactly what I did. I said, well, how come the kids, when I went to go see the kids, they had on clothes that was too small, their hair wasn't combed, and, you know.
Who has custody of the children?
I do.
So they were visiting with him?
They were visiting with their dad.
Take your hands out of your pockets. Okay, so you had a fight about that.
So we got into an argument about that.
And then the next day, his sister called and said, come on over.
His sister called and said, come on over. I came over there. Marcus comes walking through the door, and I was sitting down. He came over to me and walked over. What's up, B? I'm not going to say the word, what's up, B? I was still sitting there. He wasn't looking at me when he said it. So I wasn't, you know, I'm like, well, I know he's not talking to me. He comes over again. I said, what's up, B? So I stands up. I was like, you're a B. So he gets done yelling. He goes outside. He's out there a minute. I hear my alarm going off on my car. I go look outside. I don't see Marcus nowhere near my car. I don't see Marcus at all. I'm thinking that he maybe left. He's mad and he left. I come back inside. I sit down. I'm like, see, that's why I don't like coming over here, because of this. Right after that, maybe a minute, he comes back in the door. He continues yelling some more. We're still arguing, calling each other names back and forth as we usually do. It's a history with us. So he's yelling at his parents then. He's yelling at them, mad at them. While he's doing that, I get my keys, and I'm leaving. And he comes out. His sister comes out with me. His sister comes out. She's like, come on, Tasha, so go around the corner and cool off. Okay, fine. We're leaving. He comes out behind us, and he's still yelling, I hate you, you ain't nothing but a B, and da-da-da, and all this. And I'm like, well, I hate you too. So I'm getting in the car to leave, and I rolled down my window to finish arguing with him. Why? I don't know, but I did. We're arguing some more. He comes over to my car like he's getting ready to sock me, but I'm rolling my window up. So he hits my window. I get out the car. Oh, you trying to hit me, Marcus? No, I ain't trying to hit you. Da-da-da. So we're just still arguing there, calling names. I get out the car. I go to my trunk like I'm getting ready to get something to, you know, fight him back with. And I'm like, no, because the last time I was here, last year, we had an incident before, you know, where I got hit and,
Why didn't you just drive away?
That's what I did after, you know.
No.
Why didn't I drive away at the beginning?
You're in the car. You're exchanging words.
Mm-hmm.
You could have started the car and driven away. Why did you get out of the car and go to the trunk?
Because I was mad. I wanted to find a bat or something in the trunk to fight him with.
And what were you going to do with it? You're going to hit him with it?
Mm-hmm.
So then what happened?
We're still arguing. I'm getting ready to drive off. He picks up a steel pole and just scratches my car. And I'm like, oh, you scratched my car? Liar. So I drive off after that. I turn around. His sister's in the car with me the whole time, seen everything. We drive around the corner. I get out and I look. I seen a scratch that he did, and I seen the license plates and just like a little dent on my hood that I did. And I told Carrie to get out. I said, see what your brother did to my car? I have a witness. This is what he did. Get back in the car. go back around. I drop her off before we get to the house, so he's still out there. So I backs back up and I go to the police station to file a report.
Okay, let me see the car damage.
I have pictures before the car damage and after.
Okay.
Basically, she came to the house, and when I had showed up, we got into an argument. You know.
What'd you get into an argument for?
Because she called me and told me, don't get mad, and she was like, how dare you? Right.
What happened when you came in?
I called her. It's like, why are you here? You don't like my family. You know, you never get along with my family. Get out. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I don't have to leave. You know.
But it's in your business. It's not your house.
I live there.
I don't care if you live there.
I mean,
it's your parents' house.
Okay. Yes, it is.
So she's there. Why did you come in and disrespect your wife in front of your parents?
I just was like, man, I didn't think that she should be there. If she hates my mom, she hates my dad. She always is causing conflict. And then,
why didn't you leave?
I don't know. Just because, I don't know. Because I was
all
mad.
right. So
no reason.
Then you went outside.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do when you went outside?
I was just like, man, you know, have her leave. You know what I'm saying? I moved. I was in the street.
What did you do to her car when you went outside?
At first, I went by her car. I was mad. I started shaking her car. She came outside. She didn't do anything, so I pushed on the car some more. It was going doop doop. You know, made a little noise, and then she came outside.
You're talking about pushing the alarm.
Yeah, I tried to trick her alarm so she'll come outside, so she'll leave, because I knew that would make her actually leave, because she loves her car. I mean, she's material. She loves it. So I was like, I know she'll leave. You know, so when I did that, she came outside. I was like, you gotta mess up my car. Oh man, started screaming at me too. So I was like, okay. And I was like, well, just leave. Just get in your car and go. You know, so she gets in the car. She's like, man, you try to mess up my car, I'll shoot you. I'll smoke you. Jumps out the car, goes to the trunk, opens the trunk up, and it's like, you don't want to get shot. I was like, Daddy, you hear that? She said she's gonna shoot me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Natasha Thomas says her estranged husband, Marcus Thomas, vandalized her car. Marcus says Natasha threatened to shoot him.
She got back into the car.
Yes.
And you're still yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm, basically.
Then you picked up a
pole.
Why?
I don't know. I was just angry because she said she was going to shoot me. You know
well, you knew she wasn't going to shoot you because she was in the car,
I
sir.
threw the pole at her before she got out the car. She said she was going to shoot me out the window. She said, I'll smoke you. So I threw the pole. I had a pole in my hand. And I threw it on the ground, and it bounced up and hit the door. That's going to make that scratch on the door. Then she jumped out the car and opened the trunk and was searching through her trunk like she was actually getting some. I don't even remember exactly what happened after that.
Can I see the estimates on your car, please?
There's an incident report, too.
What I find interesting, Ms. Thomas, is that you left out of your complaint the fact that you did, in fact, get out of your car and go and tell him that you were going to shoot him. How come you left that out of your complaint?
I didn't do it purposely.
Okay. Well, that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, it
right?
was stupid. Mm-hmm.
Right, because you could have gotten your car and just left. I mean, that doesn't excuse him damaging your car. You damaged your car. What year car is this?
2000.
What kind of work do you do?
It's a concession stand manager at Safeco Field.
What kind of work do you do?
Well, I was working there, but they fired me because she said I harassed her, which I don't. So I work for a local 440 union doing construction.
It's going to cost $1,831.25 to fix this damage. Do you have a car?
Actually, I don't.
But you know she loves her car.
Yeah, she loves everything material, of course.
You had no reason $1,831.25.
Are you excused? You may step out.
All right. She's just a bitter woman that needs to find a new life.
Marcus needs to be responsible, learn how to grow up.
She came to my house. She provoked me from the very beginning.
He has a problem with himself with taking care of his responsibility.
This is just one incident that she actually happened to win.
As far as us being civil, I hope that can happen for the kids' benefit.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Rosen versus Dina Cola. Step forward, please.
29-year-old computer consultant David Rosen is suing his ex-girlfriend, 26-year-old computer technician Maria Dina Cola, for an unpaid loan to move.
Mr. Rosen, your complaint alleges that you and the defendant were dating for a while, and you made a loan to her in the amount of $3,000, and that was in order to help her move.
Correct.
Tell me when you made this loan to her.
October 4th.
And how long had you been dating before you made this loan to her?
Approximately 6 months.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding the loan.
Well, first off, we met in a chat room on the internet, online, and she was moving into a new apartment, and at the time, she had the money in her account, but she claimed that her father needed to borrow some money from her for some reason, which I don't really know. And so that meant that to make the rental deposit, she would need to take money out of her 401k, and I just couldn't have her take that money out for tax reasons. And so I wrote her the check for $3,000.
That doesn't sound like a loan.
We verbally agreed.
No, tell me what you said to her and what she said to you. She said to you, I'm going to take the money out of my 401k. And you said to her, don't do that.
I said, and I don't remember the...
Don't tell me something Don't tell me something I'm not going to believe, Mr. Rosen. Tell me something very believable.
Right. On the condition that she pays me back within approximately 2 weeks, that I will write this check to her. Now, actually, I do have the canceled check.
She doesn't dispute the fact that you wrote her a check for $3,000?
The canceled check actually has an item in the memo field that
I'd
says
like to
that it was
see
a loan. Yeah.
Just a minute.
There you go.
Show her this check, please.
That's the check he gave me, but the part about the loan for rental deposit was not there when I cashed that check.
That's possible.
That's not true. It was there when the check was cashed.
Mm-hmm. The pen is the same. Certainly the handwriting is the same. Now, you tell me about the circumstances surrounding this $3,000.
Mr. Rosen and I were in fact dating, and at the point that I was moving to a house, not an apartment. Not only did he give me this money, he co-signed so that I could move in. He paid for my moving expenses, he got me the truck and helped me move. The reason I moved, I was comfortable where I was. He thought that it was a better idea for me to move because he didn't like my neighbors. He for me to move, helped me to move, and like I said, co-signed for me to move in, took care of everything for me. Never was I mentioned this was a loan. After I moved in, he started to get more and more possessive and more trying to tell me what to do, dictating so far as what I should buy at the grocery store. My witness here saw that he would. But the point I'm trying to make, Judge,
that's not true.
Mr. Rosen, don't speak to her.
The point I'm trying to make is that he gave me this money so that I would do what he wanted, and
just
it was
a
not
second. I want you to tell me your version surrounding
the money.
The money.
Okay. There were some things going on in my life, and I did need the money.
For what?
Moving expenses and things like that. To move, to make sure that I was okay when I did move, get things that I needed when I moved, things like that.
Okay, and you didn't have the money.
No.
Why?
I have a child and I work, but I just didn't have we didn't have that amount of money to move. It wasn't within my budget.
Did you in fact tell him that you were going to take money out of your 401k?
Yes, I did. We were dating, we spoke about what I was going to do. Was I going to take money out of my 401k? What should I do? At that point, he then said, I don't mind helping you out. Because at the time, I guess that was how he felt. There were other instances of him doing things like that, giving me money, buying me things.
I don't want to hear about other instances. That's not what we're hearing
In this instance, he did in fact give me the money. It was not a loan. I would not have taken a loan because I knew that I didn't have the means to pay back.
No, it absolutely was a loan.
Mr. Rosen, don't speak. Now, on what date did you sign the lease?
To be honest,
think very hard.
I'm going to say the 14th of October. 14th or 15th of October was my move-in date.
That was your move-in date?
Yes.
I asked you when you signed the lease.
The day that I moved in, I signed the lease.
When had you found the house?
Right around the 1st of October.
And who went with you to find the house?
Mr. Rosen did. He actually did the looking on the internet for me, helped me find all the ones we went to look at, and he physically took me and we went.
Now, how much after Mr. Rosen gave you this $3,000 did you break up with each other?
I'm going to say December of that same year.
Where had you been living prior to moving into this house?
A condo, about an hour away from where I moved.
And how long had you been living there?
Approximately 6 months. It was nearing the end of my lease, so 6 months, ma'am.
When was your lease over there?
October of that year.
So you were planning on moving?
No, ma'am. It was just time to either renew or decide what I was going to do.
Actually, she was being kicked out for noise complaints of the place that she was living in at the time, and she needed to move. Also, as far as proof that this was a loan, I do have an email where she actually states that once she files her taxes, that she plans to repay.
Thank you.
It's the part outlined in blue, the last line or so.
I dispute that I sent him an email because after we both...
Show this to the defendant, please. Seemed to indicate in that email that you planned on paying him back.
Can I respond? I did send him part of that email because he was stalking me, but the part about paying him back was not in the original email. I did not put that part in the email.
I did not modify that email at all.
Shh. Look at me. Don't look at her.
Sorry.
I did, that's a true statement. I did write most of that. I did not write about filing my taxes, only because I didn't get any taxes back and I knew I wasn't going to. I wrote that because he was constantly stalking me. And
what do you think he was stalking?
I was not stalking
you.
Shh. Hey. Sorry.
What do you think he was stalking you for?
At the time we broke up, he didn't want to break up. He used to leave me phone messages. Never once was there anything about owing me money.
Mr. Rosen, if you speak to her again, is the only part of this email, madam, that you claim that he distorted or added to the part about your taxes?
Yeah, because
All right. Then let me read to you what you said to him first. You said, my phone wasn't disconnected Friday because I was home all day and my mom and dad kept calling me and I had been in the hospital the night before. Okay? You wrote that. Like I said, I will email you next week to let you know when you can get your money.
Can I tell you how that was altered? At the time.
That has not been altered.
Mr. Rosen!
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You keep saying it, but you keep forgetting.
At the time, he had things in mind that he still has, and what we were supposed to meet to do was exchange those things. There was never any mention of money. What that did say was that he has my rollerblades, which he still has. He has another pair of rollerblades he bought me while we were dating that he wouldn't give back. That's what that email was about. That's it.
Where is your copy of the email?
I don't keep emails. I mean, he keeps everything that's ever sent to him.
Good.
I don't.
Let us say that somebody, out of the goodness of their heart, because they feel as if you are strapped and you have a child, says, here, don't take the money out of your 401k. You'll have tremendous tax consequences. It'll be double that amount. Here's $3,000. And within a brief span of 8 weeks, you break up with each other. You say he broke up with you. You say you broke up with him. Then the right thing to do is to pay him back for $3,000. Doesn't that seem right to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So pay him. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. This is case number 301 on the calendar, the matter of Elliott versus Elliott Pruitt. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Is that child necessary in the courtroom?
He's a witness.
How old is he?
5.
I'd like him to wait outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Elliott, the defendant is your brother and the co-defendant is his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
According to you, you made a series of loans to your brother, which was only partially repaid. And then you claim that he assaulted you.
Yes.
And the vast majority of your claim is for damages as a result of that assault. That's what this is about. Your brother says that he paid you back and that it was actually you who assaulted him. So let's first start with the loans. When did you make these loans and what were they for?
Some were for miscellaneous things to start a new house.
When?
In April.
And how much did you give him in April?
$149 for the miscellaneous things, and then $465 for his first month's rent, and $20 for a credit check to get the place.
Now, Mr. Elliott, is it correct that your sister gave you that money?
Yes.
Plus, I loaned him a futon, a box fan, and a ceiling fan that was to be returned to me.
Futon and 2 fans. Okay. How much did he pay you back for the loans?
He gave me one payment of $318, one payment of $3, and one payment of $50.
What was the $3 payment?
That's all she gave me that day. She said that's all they had.
So all told, they repaid you $371?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about the loans.
Well, I got it right here. This is my evidence for you to look at, that we paid him.
Did he ever sign a check over to you in the amount of $418?
Yeah, right around 5th of April, I got a check from AFDC for $418, and I cashed it and gave them $100 back. They said they needed it.
Does that sound right? Probably. I believe her. Well, speak.
She only gave us $100 back. It wasn't
That's what I
$160.
just said.
No, that's what she said. She gave you $100 back.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So the answer is yes, she gave you $100 back. So what else are you showing me? What is $930?
That was for the lease because she helped us get the house.
No.
And stuff.
I'm asking you about the rest of the money. She said that you gave her back
Oh, I didn't bring
$318,
I didn't bring in my-
$3 and $50.
I didn't bring in my check stubs, but we don't have any receipt for the money that we exchanged because we didn't think it was going to be an issue.
What do you mean you didn't think it was going to be an issue? What did you think you were coming here for?
We-
Ballet lessons?
No.
So you have no proof that you have fully repaid this loan. Is that correct? No. Fine. So you owe her $263 on the loan.
Yes.
Yes. Why could we just get there right from the beginning? Now, you have the futon and the 2 ceiling fans. Where are they?
In storage.
In storage.
Yes.
Well, those you'll get back to her.
Yes.
Fine. 5 days from today, she gets back the futon and the 2 ceiling fans.
There is a restraining order for them not to come near me, so how?
Well, that's all right. We'll arrange for it. Do you have a local precinct?
Yes.
Yes.
At noon on the 5th of next month, your U-Hauler, the futon, and the 2 ceiling fans are to be in front of the precinct. Got it?
Yes.
Noon, high noon, futon and 2 fans. Now let's talk about this assault, because that's the remainder of your complaint. Let me hear.
I went over there and was sitting down talking to Candace. He came in and started yelling with his hands in my face. I started to say something. He said, I didn't tell you could talk, you, B-I-T-C-H. And I stood up and was going to go out the door, but he was standing in front of the door. He had welding gloves on, because that's what he was doing at the time, was welding work. He slapped me across the face. She was behind me in the living room and yelled, Jeremy, no. And he kept yelling. I said, that's it. I'm taking my name off the lease if you're not going to be responsible and respect me. He got mad and was just still yelling. So I tried to get out the door, and he was
trying to, with his body, push me back in or not let me out, blocking me. And he punched me in the face. I said, that's it, I'm calling the cops. And he kept yelling, you don't do that to family. I said, you don't hit family either. I said, I'm out of here, that's it. I don't care. She's yelling, Kathy, just leave. I'm trying to leave, but he's not there anymore. My nephew has a heart condition and had open heart surgery, and he was with me. He was so scared he wouldn't go to the car. I'm trying to get him out of the way because he can't have any blows or anything to his chest. At that time, after he hit me the second time, I do believe I pushed him a little bit to get him away so I could get out the door. I came outside trying to get Lorenzo, telling him to move.
That's your nephew?
Yes, and he's scared. He's not going nowhere. I'm pushing him. He comes at me again. I did have a 32-ounce plastic cup in my hand that I threw and told him to get away from me, that I was leaving, and I was calling the cops. He's still yelling, you don't do that to family, and a bunch of other nice little names. And he came at me again. I did grab him in a headlock so that my face would not get punched anymore because it hurt. When I put him in the headlock, she jumped on my back. So I pushed him away, and I don't know where she went after that because she was no longer on my back. When he went to the ground, I grabbed my nephew and shoved him towards the car, and he came after me, threw my nephew in, went to get in. My window was down. He punched me in the left face again as I was in the car, and I took off and called the police.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathleen Elliott says her brother, Jeremy Elliott, owes for unpaid loans, the return of property, and an assault. Jeremy says Kathleen is crazy and attacked him first.
Now we'll hear from you. Don't smile. Whether the story is accurate or not, it's nothing to laugh about.
It didn't exactly go down like that.
Well, I'm waiting, sir, for your version of the events.
What happened was my boss said that somebody was waiting out in front of my work. He says, you need to go out there because they're asking for you. So I walk out there, and it's my sister. She was waiting out there from 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock, knowing I don't get off till 5 o'clock. And my boss was, you need to tell her to leave. So I walked out there, you need to leave. I'm waiting for you to pay me. I said, well, I understand that, but I'm not off work yet, and you can't be out here.
Okay, you said you to give her some money that you owe her. So it comes 5 o'clock and you leave work. What did you do?
I get on my bike, I start riding.
Did you stop? You say, I'm going home, I'll see you home?
I said I was going to the liquor store.
You said you were going to the liquor store?
Yeah.
Is that right? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Mr. Elliott, I have a detector back here. So I want you to be very careful what you say to me, sir. So let's get past the fact that you told her you were going to the liquor store to cash your check so that you could give her the money you owed her, because that never happened. You got on your bike and you rode home, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I proceeded on down Wilson Way, and then she's going at 5 miles an hour with traffic behind her screaming, I'm going to get my money one way or another, screaming and hollering at me and making a public scene. So I turned down one of the streets that she couldn't turn down. I don't remember the name of it. I got to the liquor store, and she wasn't there. So my house is right behind the liquor store, and she was there when I got there. I walked in the door and said, sis, we need to talk. For one, you can't be out front of my work. My boss is going to fire me over this. You're screaming, yeah, I need to pay you, I need to pay you. Well, give me some time to pay you. I can't pay you like that. I mean, I got to pay my bills. I have all kinds of other bills I have to pay back too. That's when she gets up off the futon and she like rhinoed me. That's how they put it. They rhinoed me out the door and I hit the pole. And then after that, I don't know what happened because I was in a headlock.
So you're saying that you never punched her?
Nope.
You never put your hands on her?
You hit her with the glove?
Yeah, I hit her with the glove.
You did?
Yes.
When did you hit her with the glove?
Right before she grabbed me in the headlock.
But she'd already shoved me. Do you have any
I have photographs that they took
like
right
to see.
afterwards, and I have a medical report saying that there's bruises, and they took x-rays.
I'd like to see.
And there's, somehow my foot got stepped on, and there's a picture of the mark that there's still a scar. There's some cuts on the cheek where they did a close-up from when he hit me open-handed with the welding gloves on the first time.
I see what appear to be scratches on your face that are consistent with being hit with something rough. Nothing black and blue.
Well,
no
that was
open
only half an
abrasions.
hour later.
You have any photographs afterwards?
No, they didn't come out.
I can't look at something that didn't come out.
But my sister saw the bruising afterwards.
If you had bruising afterwards, you'd take photographs. Were you arrested for this, sir?
No, I was not.
How come?
Because the deputy that we talked to, he said it just looks like it was a family dispute. And if I told him I said I didn't have no problems. And
she was on our property.
I did file a restraining order shortly after.
What happened with it?
I have a restraining order. Right now, it's good for 3 years.
You do?
Yes.
Can I
for
see
him
it,
to stay away
please?
from me and my nephew.
Can I see it, please?
They didn't bother to come.
How come you didn't show up for the hearing?
because at the time I was moving and I didn't receive the paperwork for it.
No, that's not true. That's a lie.
Served by the sheriff's
That's
department.
a lie.
At work.
I told you. Don't lie. She has proof of service by a sheriff, right?
Yes, at my work.
I didn't ask you whether you were served at your home or your work or on Mars. You were served, so why do you tell me that you weren't served?
I didn't mean it that I wasn't served it.
That's what you just said. Isn't that what he just said?
On that paperwork, there
I
wasn't
wasn't
no
served and I
address.
was moving.
That's what he said?
That's what he said.
Or no, address date.
All right. Miss Elliott, listen to me. He certainly owes you the $263. What was your unreimbursed medical?
$86.93.
Let's make it $90.
Well, I also had to pay for medicine out of my own pocket for
And how much was that?
$43.54, and I had to go to physical therapy, cost gas, and then I had to pay $22 for the pictures and stuff from the police department.
Don't talk to me about gas. You had $133 out-of-pocket expense for both your medicals and your medicine.
Yes.
Those two things. 10 times that. $1,593. That's 10 times what your actual damages were, okay? Plus what he owes you for the loan. Because, Mr. Elliott, I don't believe anything that you say, sir. And I didn't even ask you anything, right?
Yeah.
You have your judgment?
If they don't return the furniture.
Oh, they'll return the furniture.
Not in good shape.
You didn't expect it back in great
Yes,
shape.
I did. It would be returned in good condition.
How long have you known that he was marginal, madam?
He had never been marginal to me.
But you knew that he was
And
marginal
I
with other people.
Was in another state.
Just a minute. You knew he was
Yes, I
marginal with
did.
other people. You know, you got to use your good judgment. That's all.
Pardon's our excuse. You may step out.
Well,
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
He was lying and she knew it.
I just hope she's happy now and she just goes on with her life.
He needs to grow up and act like a man.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hatton versus McCallum, step forward, please.
25-year-old retail manager Cynthia Hatton is suing ex-roommate, 23-year-old ticket broker Andrew McCallum for breaking their lease. Andrew says he broke the lease because Cynthia is unstable.
Miss Hatton, the defendant was your roommate, according to your complaint. You claim that he moved out in the middle of the month of September 2001, owing you some rent and bills, and he also took some property of yours. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant said he's all paid up. When did he move in with you?
We moved in.
You moved in together?
Together.
And you were just friends?
Yes.
You signed a lease?
Yes, we have a lease that we shared.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, Your Honor. September 15th.
It's beginning the 15th of each month.
Absolutely.
And you moved out on September 16th. Is that right, sir?
No, ma'am.
When
Moved
did you
out on September 15th.
Okay. So you signed this lease, sir. Is that right?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
And the lease requires that you give 30 days written notice to the landlord.
Okay.
May I see that, please?
I actually, I had spoke with our manager of the apartment complex, and basically I explained my situation.
Don't tell me what you explained to the manager of your apartment complex, sir, because it says that no oral notice is acceptable.
Okay.
Okay. Did you move out subsequently?
No, Your Honor. I maintained the apartment. I've stayed there.
Okay. Do you have a new roommate?
Yes, as of October 15th, I have a new roommate.
Okay. And how much was your share of the rent?
My share of the rent was $400, Your Honor.
Actually, Your Honor, we
Why?
had an agreement beginning the end of August. Andrew and I had a conversation where I asked him, since his girlfriend was moving in, if he could actually split the cost of the rent halfway down the middle, and he said not a problem. So that would be $425 apiece.
Well, did he pay half the rent in August?
No, beginning September's rent.
Oh, forget it. Then he moved out.
Yeah, then he moved out.
Then he moved
exactly.
out. So he owes you $400 for September's rent. So you have to give a $400.
And then-
Now, what about utility bills, etc.?
I have the Edison bill, which was not the month for Andrew, but the past due balance of $87.79, which reflects the month before that, is the month that he was there.
Did you pay that bill?
Right here, Your Honor.
What's the date on it?
The date on it is 9/15. I actually wrote this check. I posted it. I wrote it on the 13th. Your
Was it
Honor.
cashed?
Was it cashed? Yeah. Sitting right here. I got it from my
May I
statement.
see?
It was written in Southern California Edison.
Yes, Your Honor, that was also for the month of August's bill. We were in mid-cycle when he moved.
Well, I don't know that, madam. You don't have the bill. He has a check for $191.70 dated 9/15/01.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have that bill that he paid, actually, and it shows the dates on there.
8/2 to 8/31.
Yes, Your Honor. He moved out on September 15th.
Oh, stop it. Stop annoying me with petty stuff. He doesn't owe you $87 for 15 days.
I called the...
He doesn't owe you $87 for 15 days. What else?
I also have a copy of the cable bill in the amount of $71.77.
For what period of time?
It was actually for the period of 9/22 to 10/21.
He wasn't even there to watch cable. Next.
I loaned him my television antenna in his room for his television, and he took that with him.
Did you take an antenna?
No, ma'am.
What else?
He also took several items from me, ranging from CDs to Nintendo games.
CDs? How many CDs did he take?
Tell you right now.
I can't believe I went to law school for this. What CDs did he take from you?
I have a Creed CD, a Sugar Ray CD, Alanis Morissette CD, and an Eminem CD.
Nope.
Do you have those CDs?
I have Creed. I have purchased on my own. I probably can find the receipt if I wanted. I don't own any of the other ones. So, Your Honor, the answer is no.
What else?
Also a 007 Nintendo 64 video game.
You have something to say. You have the Nintendo game?
That's my game. I have the credit card receipt at home for that game.
She says it's hers, you say it's yours. How am I supposed to figure that
There
out?
were two. He had one of his own and I
Yeah,
had
we left
one.
one there and I took mine.
Also, Your Honor, on September 16th, I went and saw him there removing his stuff from the property. He had with him my belongings, which was a television cart stand. I saw it immediately and knew it was mine, and I took it back, as well as a CD tower rack. I noticed that, and he gave it back. And I also had realized that my Nintendo 64 controller was gone, and I asked him for it, and he gave that back.
Why did you pack up those items that weren't yours?
Okay. The CD tower rack she had given to me in the month of March because I needed another rack for my CDs.
And what about the other stuff?
The Nintendo controllers, it was pretty much a foul-up. I have a total of 5 controllers that I bought myself. I do have receipts for because my other controllers had been faulty.
So it was
I
a
bought new
mistake?
ones. It was just an honest mistake.
Okay, what
so
about
I handed it
the
right
TV
back with a smile
stand?
on my face.
TV stand?
I didn't even have a clue about that.
Well, you took it.
Huh?
You took it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a mistake.
It was a mistake, Your Honor.
Like, it's judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $400. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may stand as case number 305 on the calendar in the matter of Bianchi versus Myron. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Miss Bianchi, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours who you claim assaulted you, causing you to injure yourself in your college dormitory.
Correct.
When did this happen?
It was on May 23rd.
Tell me about the incident that caused this injury.
Well, what led up to it, it was really, our relationship was volatile for the past few months, issues with drugs and trying to get off of them. There was a lot of tension, and he was angry with me, I was angry with him. I was pushed down some stairs and hurt.
No. Don't go there yet.
Okay.
He came over to your dorm.
He lived in my dorm. We lived in the same one.
And you're sitting where, in a living room area?
Yes. We were watching a TV show.
Was there anybody else there?
Yes, there was. There was probably 5 people.
And what happened? You're watching television, another 5 people are there.
We had gotten in a little squabble about something and arguing back and forth.
What had you gotten into a squabble about?
I honestly don't remember. It was always something, though. Something.
So you were talking during the television program?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody tell you to be quiet?
No.
Okay. What happened next?
We were both kind of really angry with each other. And then just some like pushing and shoving.
What do you mean pushing and shoving?
What?
Shh. What do you mean pushing and shoving?
Back and forth.
Who started pushing?
It was both at the same time.
So you were pushing each other on the shoulders?
Kind of like back and forth. And then.
How did that happen? What do you mean back and forth? Explain that to me.
We were angry with each other, and he had ice also. He was throwing it at me. And after we were done pushing each other, we got up. And then that's when everything started leading to this.
Well, so after you were pushing each other on the couch, then you both got up at the same time?
Yes.
And what happened when you got up?
What happened when we had gotten up was, since we were hitting each other, he wanted to hold me down. He held me down onto the floor. I couldn't move.
Yes.
We got back up. I went after him. Going after him, I still needed to speak with him.
What do you mean you went after him?
Walked after him.
So he went to walk away?
Yes.
He went to leave? And you went after him?
Yeah,
so his
to
back
speak
is
with him
towards you?
about yes.
So his back is towards you. And what happened at that point?
He turned around and I got pushed across the room. What? And into the sunken den. There's 2 stairs and heard a snap.
And that's when you hurt your leg?
Yes.
And you were on crutches for a while?
Yes.
You lost your job?
Mm-hmm.
And you had expenses?
Yes.
Right? And you want him to pay you $5,000?
Huh.
Okay. Now let me hear your version of these events.
We were sitting down as she said, things were we did argue a lot. That was the extent of it, verbal arguments. And we're sitting down watching a TV show, watching Dawson's Creek season finale. I could give a crap about Dawson's Creek. I had...
Excuse me.
Thank you. I had a 10-page paper due the next day.
I'm not interested in your paper.
I'm sorry, I'm procrastinator, so I got up, and I said, I'm going to go write my paper. And she said, excuse my language, but out of nowhere. And I was like, what? And as soon as I turned around and said, what? She picked up a Starbucks mug and threw it straight at my... Didn't I tell you? And she had a pretty good aim, because I lifted my knee like this and hit me right in the shin. And getting hit in the shin hurts really bad. It left a knot, like about that big, around my shin, about that much inch raised off my shin, bleeding. I was like, ow! And then, sorry, I'm just trying to, it was crazy. So, I grabbed her by arms, and I set her down, I was really stern, and I set her down on the couch, right where she was sitting. Then she got up and threw it. I put her back on the couch. I started walking away, really mad. Started walking towards my dorm, right? She was right about my back being turned towards her. She came, the reason I looked back was because she was screaming. She was like, ah, coming after me, and all I seen was arms flailing like this, and I protected myself, and I blocked her arms, I grabbed her, I wrestled her onto the ground, and it wasn't that hard. I'm state champion wrestler, and it wasn't that hard, and so I took her down, held her there, give her time to like think and maybe stop. No, as soon as I let her go, she jumped right back to her feet, came running at me again, scratched me, I held her again, put her down to the ground, her hands got away, she hit me twice in the face, and we stood up. I had Courtney by the arms right here, holding her arms so she couldn't hit me anymore. And I said, you know what, and I said, it's over, I'm done. Because I just don't deal with the physical violence. That's not who I am. And she came at me with that, and I told her to zip. And that's when I broke up with her.
Pushed her and she fell.
Yeah, she stumbled back. There's a step going into the den. She tripped, she fell on her butt. I can't see how she could have tore her ligament. It was out of self-defense.
Miss Bianchi, who started the physical stuff, Miss Bianchi?
Who started the physical? It was on both of our parts.
Then you got the worst of the bargain.
But I don't consider the shoving and verbal need for me to be thrown back down some stairs.
Well, sometimes that happens. You said that you were in a physical fight with him. Somebody always is going to get the bad, worse part of the deal. Somebody's always going to end up the loser in a physical fight.
That's what I'm saying, though. It didn't get too physical until he actually had
That's
thrown
not
me.
true. There's no question in my mind that you slapped him, right?
After he had been holding me down, yes.
Well,
it wasn't on the couch that he had set me down.
Let me tell you something. He was holding you down for a reason. What do you think the reason was that he got you to the ground and he was holding you down? Why do you think he was holding you down?
Because I was yelling at him close face to face.
No. But you just told me you were fighting with each other. Physically.
Pushing, shoving.
Well, that's what he did. That's what he did. You pushed him, he pushed you, you pushed him, he pushed you, you fell, and you hurt yourself. What do you want from the courts?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Courtney Bianchi says ex-boyfriend Nikishna Myron injured her ankle during an assault. Nikishna says Courtney started it by throwing a coffee cup at him.
Go ahead.
I want him to be responsible for his actions because after this had happened, he told me, I'll pay for whatever it cost, that it was his fault.
It wasn't his fault.
He admitted guilt to it, and he offered to pay for the medical bills that would.
Did you offer to pay for the medical bills?
I offered to help. I tried to be a good human being, and we broken up. I didn't want nothing to deal with her, but I knew medical bills were expensive. I said, I'll help.
You'll help pay the medical bills?
And then I
told her, you agreed to pay the medical bills.
I said when I could.
He said he would pay for all of them.
And she said, well, and I stopped talking to her over the summer, and she's all, well, when am I going to get the money? I said, well, I got to deal with, like, rent first. You know, I got to survive.
Just a second. So you agreed to pay for, according to you, some of the medical bills. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That was very generous of you. But if you agreed to pay for it, that's an agreement that you had with her. So you have to pay for some of her medical bills. He doesn't pay for anything else, madam. You want him to pay $5,000. How much were your medical bills?
$1,598 for the emergency room, $70 for x-rays.
And how much of that was reimbursed by insurance?
None.
Why
it
not?
was because of the way that it happened. I had to be taken to an emergency room. I heard a snap, and I didn't want to wait around to be taken to one of the planned facilities.
So you don't have insurance that covers emergency room treatment?
I do have insurance as long as I go through my provider.
What kind of provider do you have?
Kaiser Permanency.
Did you submit the bill to Kaiser?
Yes. And they sent me back a bill saying this is how much you owe, that they didn't cover it.
Well, then let me see that. Let me see the letter from Kaiser.
That's what they sent me, is the bill. They submitted it from the emergency room, which was Irvine Medical Center, to Kaiser, and Kaiser sent me the bill.
Okay.
For it.
All right, your total medical bills was $1,668. You don't get anything for pain and suffering, you don't get anything for lost wages, you don't get anything for your aggravation, and you get half your medical bills because you are at least half responsible for what happened that day. Just because the worst end of the deal or the short end of the stick, you get compensated. Quite
All
frankly,
I'm saying is, because of his past, he says he's not that kind of person. I have a lot of things right here.
I'm not interested in a lot
that he is.
I'm not interested in a lot of things. You didn't tell me about throwing the Starbucks coffee cup at him. How come?
After he held me down?
How come you didn't tell me about throwing the Starbucks coffee cup at him?
I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm kind of nervous and I forgot about it.
Right.
Your Honor?
What?
I just don't feel I should pay her anything because I think she's exaggerating this whole thing. It's a big facade. She wasn't that hurt.
She went to the emergency room. I wouldn't ordinarily give her a thing, quite frankly, sir. Listen to me.
Okay.
I wouldn't give her a farthing. But you agreed to help her with her medical bills.
Understand.
And then, after you agreed to help her with her medical bills, you said, well, I got other bills to pay. I got rent that I got to deal with and other things. But you had agreed to do it. Right?
Yes.
So, if it wasn't for that agreement, I wouldn't give her anything. We understand each other?
Understand.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $834. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have papers right here for his DUI, shoplifting, purchasing airline tickets on stolen credit cards.
2 weeks later, she wasn't even hurt. She was jumping on the bed naked in the dorms in front of 1,000 people, enough to hit her head 3 times on the ceiling.
Stay away from drug addicts.
I wouldn't recommend going out with this woman. Stay away.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pettigrew, Ray versus Alexander. Step forward, please.
Daycare provider Denise Ray and her children, 13-year-old Jawan Pettigrew and 10-year-old Ebony Pettigrew, are suing former friend, 55-year-old school teacher William Alexander, for the return of 2 $1,000 savings bonds.
Ms. Ray, according to your complaint, you've known the defendant for most of your life. Is that right?
Yeah.
He's been sort of a mentor to you and to your family. According to him, he even raised one of your children. Is that right?
No, not necessarily.
Well, what do you mean not necessarily? You had 3 children?
Yes, I did.
An older boy?
Yes.
Did the oldest boy live with you continuously until he reached the age of 18?
No.
Who did he live with?
The defendant.
Right. Well, that's what I said.
Okay.
According to you, there came a time several years ago when you came into some money as a result of a claim because of the earthquake in California. You had a couple of $1,000, and you wanted to put aside some of that money for your children.
Yeah.
So you asked the defendant to get savings bonds for your 3 children.
Yes.
How much money did you give him to get the savings bonds?
$1,500.
$1,500. So
Yes.
you wanted a $500 savings bond for each of your 3 children.
Yes.
Now, one of the children, the oldest child, whose name is?
Edward.
Edward. Did Edward get his bond?
He's here, yes.
Edward?
Yeah.
Did you get your bond?
Yeah.
From Mr. Alexander?
Yeah.
That leaves 2 $500 bonds left.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
That Mr. Alexander is holding children. And you want?
The bonds double value, Your Honor, to $1,000.
Well, when did you give him the money?
In 94.
Okay.
August 8th. Well, approximately August 8th, 1994.
Where are the bonds, Mr. Alexander?
I have them here, and they were
May
purchased.
I see them, please?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. And they were purchased August 11th, 1994.
3 days off.
Well, they are $1,000 bonds.
Yes.
In the names of the children or Mr. Alexander, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Tell me why you want these bonds now. Tell me why you want to hold them for your children.
Because I want no more dealings with Mr. William Alexander. Of course, I know some statements were made in his statement regarding my lifestyle at the time. I'm not in denial anymore. Yes, I had a substance abuse history. But the thing about it, what led up to my substance abuse history was kept hidden in the dark for years.
Was that his fear? And was that your fear? Is that
was
why
my
you
fear.
gave him the money to buy the bonds for the children rather than buying them yourself?
No, at the time that we were to purchase the bonds, I didn't have Edward's social security number. The day that we were at the bank purchasing the bonds, I filled out all the original paperwork with my name as payee for these children until they turned 18 for these bonds. Mr. Alexander asked me to let him hold the money and the paperwork until that following Monday. I says, okay, I'll trust you. Come that following week, when I asked Mr. Alexander for the bonds or my money, he told me he wasn't giving them to me.
I assume that you let him hold these bonds all of these years because you trusted him.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You trusted him, and he certainly did everything that he could to live up to that trust because here are the bonds. He hasn't done anything with them. Here they are.
Okay, but Your Honor, it's more to the story than... I don't want no more dealings with Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander is...
I don't want any more dealings with Mr. Alexander. Do you have a problem with our holding the bonds for the children?
No, I don't have a problem at all.
Fine. Good.
Okay.
Because she really can't cash them.
No.
Because they are for either of the children or you.
Exactly.
So if she went in to cash the bonds, she could not cash them. These bonds are going to have to sit there until the children reach their majority.
I gave the bonds to her last year when she asked, and she became angry because I wouldn't sign them over. I said, if you want the bonds, you may keep the bonds until the children are 18. It's their money.
Right.
No.
No what?
No, he did not.
Okay, well, just so we don't have a problem anymore.
I want my bonds changed over to their godmother.
No. You can't have that. Period. I'm not doing that. You can hold your children's bonds because that's what you want to do. If you feel as if you have a safe place in your home or if you have a bank vault, You can take the bonds and put them there and wait for your children to reach their majority, and then you give them the bonds, and at that time they should be even worth more than $1,000.
Exactly.
Because it's a while. How old are you?
10.
And you?
13.
13. Well, got a way to go. These are going to be worth a lot more than $1,000.
But I paid for those bonds.
So what? What do you want me to do?
I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing.
You don't have anything to do with
but
them.
his
now.
name is on them.
You're absolutely right, which means that you cannot cash them. The only thing that means is you cannot cash them. These are for the children. This is what you intended it for. You intended these bonds for the children.
But I didn't intend for his name to be on them, Your Honor.
Well, then don't look at them. Don't look at them. Put them away. And when your children reach the age of 18, you give each of your children a bond. One of the children should have about $2,000.
They don't need his assistance for anything, right?
No, to do these?
I just
Absolutely
don't want them in my
not.
children's life, period.
Listen to me. All this says is Ebony or William. Means either one of them can sign these bonds, but Ebony can't do it until she's 18.
Okay.
Yes.
And Jawan can't do it until he's 18. Other than that, these are your children's bonds. Perfect. We just resolved this case. Give her the bonds.
Whatever.
Mr. Alexander, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't have control of
Parties
that.
are excused. You may stand down. This is case number 322 on the calendar in the matter of Pritchard versus Sostala. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
All right, the engagement didn't work out. Why can't you two folks just, put a period and get on with your lives? Any reason? You want your engagement/wedding ring set back.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that the defendant also took money out of a bank account.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant wants her engagement necklace back that she gave you. She wants reimbursement for some jewelry that you pawned of hers. And she wants a return of money that she said she put in your joint bank account that you were supposed to be saving. Were you living together when you were engaged?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you give her the engagement ring?
May 11th.
Tell me the circumstances around you giving her the engagement ring. Was it a surprise?
No, ma'am. She went with me and picked out the rings and helped
She
negotiate
went to the store
price.
with you?
That's correct.
So far, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Tell me about this engagement necklace. When did you get that?
I believe it was in April.
It was May, actually, May 3rd, that I purchased the necklace.
May 3rd. But you gave it to him before you got your engagement ring.
Yes, ma'am. It was at the jewelry store that we were going to purchase my engagement ring at.
I want you to tell me the circumstances surrounding you giving him the necklace.
Okay. We had broke up at one point, and he had pawned my wedding band from my ex-husband, his gold chain, and a Texas ring of his. He told me when I got this stuff out of the pawn that for me to go ahead and give the gold chain of his to my eldest son. So that's what I did. So whenever we were looking at jewelry there at the jewelry...
So you got the jewelry out of the pawn shop?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was it to get the jewelry out of the pawn?
$180.
So you had all the pieces of jewelry in your possession?
Yes.
Do you still?
The only thing that I still have is the necklace.
What happened to the other property?
I gave it back to him.
Including your wedding band?
No, this is my wedding band from my ex-husband.
Well, so you kept that?
Right, because that was not from him. It wasn't his.
No, I understand that, but
okay.
you kept that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you kept the gold necklace?
Correct.
What kind of gold necklace is it?
It's a Figaro chain.
Can I see it, please?
And he told me to give it to my old...
Okay. Fine. Let's get to the necklace that you got him. Did you buy it on the day that you bought the engagement rings?
No, ma'am, because we went to another jewelry store and found something less expensive, and we a few days within one another.
How much did you pay for this necklace?
$525.
You have the receipt for it?
It's on the back of my check. They did it like if it was a credit card. And it's from North Lake Jewelers, which it says on the back.
Mm-hmm. And do you have the receipt from the engagement rings?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see them, please? Okay. Where is the necklace?
It's at home.
You want your rings back? Your rings are clearly more expensive than the necklace.
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you give her the necklace back and she'll give you the rings back?
Well, because it was not an engagement gift. It was a gift to replace...
A gift to replace what?
Part of her story's online, but the necklace part, I didn't tell her to give it to her son until after she'd already gotten it out of pawn, and I knew it was in her possession at that time. She wasn't going to give it to me anyway.
Because you were fighting at that point?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But when we got back together, I did tell her, I want my necklace, because I was afraid she had given it to somebody else.
What did you do with the money that you pawned the stuff for?
I bought groceries and stuff for her and her kids.
Is that right?
No, I don't know when he pawned it or what he did with the money.
Let me ask you this question.
I don't know.
You were living together for a period of time, for this period of time, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working? Working. And
At
you want
that
to tell me
moment-
where, for whom, and how much you were earning. So my question is, at the time you pawned the jewelry, were you employed?
I believe I was.
believe
and
you
the reason,
were.
the reason I say is because it's been almost a year.
Well, I
so,
want you to think back. Think back.
I was
Pawned
working.
the jewelry.
Yeah, I was working as
For who?
for the state of Texas. I was a boot camp drill instructor.
What were you earning?
I was earning $7.25 an hour.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
Can't support yourself and 3 children on $7.25 an hour.
No, ma'am. My children live with their father.
So it was just the 2 of you?
And his 2 children.
Ah. So was she in fact working as a drill instructor at that point, sir?
No, she had already quit, but her kids came for visitation. And at that weekend was in between my pay periods, and we didn't have any money. And all 3 of them came, and we needed some money.
Okay, what kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm a private investigator.
So if you want these rings back, and if you want to terminate this relationship in a most agreeable and less stressful manner as possible, why don't you just give her back the necklace? She's going to get out part of this lawsuit.
Because I like the necklace.
Is it worth more than $2,500?
No, ma'am.
That's what you paid for the rings. That sounds fair to me, doesn't it?
If you feel that, I don't.
I sure do. So you're going to give her back the necklace, and she's going to give you back the rings. Then we've taken care of that. Now let's talk about the money. You say she took some money out of a bank account?
Yes, ma'am.
$600?
$662, something in that neighborhood, yes.
Tell
ma'am.
me about that.
Well, it's my bank account, and the only money that was in that bank account was money that people had written me checks for cars or something. No money of hers ever went in that bank account.
Was it a joint bank account?
I did put her on the bank account, that's correct. But when she left, I requested the ATM cards and the credit cards.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Curtis Pritchard says ex-fiancée Betty Sestala refuses to give back his engagement ring and wedding band. Curtis also says Betty helped herself to his bank account.
I hear you.
Every week that I got paid, I gave Curtis my money. I worked from May 11th to August 9th.
3 months.
Yes, ma'am. I made $8,400. I didn't spend $8,000 in living expenses and stuff.
How much did you spend?
I don't know.
Well, how do I know?
Well, the reason that I say that is there's no way I could have possibly spent $8,000. I'm not a high-maintenance girl.
I don't know whether you are, whether you're not, but if you have a joint bank account and you're putting money in, and I assume you were putting money
No
in the
money
account?
went into the bank account.
What?
No, none of her pay ever went into the bank account.
Well, what happened with her $8,400? What happened with her $8,000?
She would get paid. She would give me some of her money, not all of it. She gave me some of her money. That's true.
Well, how much did she give you?
I couldn't be exactly sure, but you know, she's telling. She gave me some of her money, but I mean, it would cost $600 to $800 every time she wanted to go visit her kids, hotel, food. She'd go shopping all the time.
So it would be a fair statement that you commingled your funds.
That's
Is
correct.
That a fair
Yes, ma'am.
statement? And you're not married.
That's correct.
No, he's divorced as of yesterday.
Okay, but you're not married now.
No, ma'am.
You folks cannot expect to come to court and have somebody else unravel these very intricate financial woes that you managed to get yourself into. And what I said at the start of this case was, you 2 people, you started a relationship, it didn't work, move on. You clearly spent money during that 3-month period.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know whether you went to visit your children like he says you did, and he has no proof of what you spent. So I would be doing a guest job, and I don't do guest jobs.
Your Honor, the day that he kicked me out, told me to get the F out, I left walking, and I went without a dime, without any clothes but what I had on my back.
Just a
A
second.
strange man picked me up on the side of the road, and
Listen to me. You don't get compensated for that. You've had an on-again, off-again with this man clearly for a long time.
And he's the one that's been the one that's made the money off of it because I don't have a dime because he has it all.
Next time you should know better.
I've also sent her money when she needed it. She called me, asked me. I've got money grants where I sent her money.
Let me see.
So I mean, it's not like she. And this is in addition to that $600 she took. Plus, I just gave her $2,900 just a few days ago.
On the 1st of October of this year, did he send you $200?
Yes, ma'am.
What for?
For me to, I had my children that weekend. My son had a paintball competition.
And you
he
called
sent-
him and asked him for money and he sent it?
No, I didn't call him. He called me.
So he called you and you said you needed money?
No, I didn't. He asked me if I needed any money.
Fine. So he sent you $200 on the 1st. Then I have another transfer here to you in September.
Mm-hmm.
The end of September for another $300. What was that for?
For just basic living expenses because I went there without a dime.
He's not responsible for you.
No, he's not. And he
He's
never
not
has
responsible.
been.
He's not a. He doesn't sound like a cad to me.
Well,
did he give you? Did he give you other? Did he give you other money just last week?
No.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not. I have no reason to lie about it.
Well, I think you do. In any event, I'm going to cut the following order. Mr. Pritchard, listen to me, sir. You're going to part with that great necklace. You're going to give it back to her within 5 days, and she's going to part with the that you're wearing now.
That's the only one that I have.
Where's the other one?
He has it.
Take the ring off. Give it to Bird.
There's other things that you're not hearing that makes him not sound like such a cad. That's not it, that I couldn't sue him for here, from where he borrowed $5,000 from me, and he sold the truck that he had gotten a loan on, and I've not got that. I got $600 of that, which I have the paperwork in my purse.
Mr. Pritchard, you want her son to have this necklace or you want it back?
No, Jeremy can have it.
Give it back to her. You're to get the engagement necklace back to her.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep it simple. That's all.
Pardon that excuse. You may step out.
I don't think that it's right that a man can keep everything he earned.
Didn't go quite like I thought, but I believe she was fair.
He wasn't working, and there was no money, and I had to make a living.
We're both kind of hard-headed, I guess.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Adams versus Canham. Step forward, please.
18-year-old student Jennifer Adams is suing her former classmate, 17-year-old student Christy Canham, for breaking her ankle during a fight.
Miss Adams, according to your complaint, the defendant assaulted you, you were injured, you want to be compensated. That's what the case is about. How do you know her?
We went to grammar school and to high school together.
Where did this assault take place?
At Annie's house.
At this young lady's house?
Yeah.
When?
October 2nd, 2001.
What was the...
There's more to it. In August of this year, we had a get-together also at Annie's house where everybody had gone in the house except for Christy and my fiance. And after everyone was inside, she said something to the extent of, fiance or not, I've had guys cheat on their girlfriends with me before. So he came in the house and he told me about it and didn't do anything about it at that time. We all went to bed and we hadn't seen each other really during this time from August to October when the incident happened. My CDs had been left at the restaurant where she works and somebody had gone through them.
You went to the restaurant where she works?
No.
Who left the CDs at the restaurant where she works?
Her little brother had my CDs, left them at the restaurant. Somebody went through them and took out a whole bunch of CDs, but she took one and took it to Hawaii with her.
So she had one of your CDs?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went out to Annie's on October 2nd.
What did you go to Annie's for?
Because we're friends.
Was she expecting you?
It was just we go out there all the time. Nobody expects anyone.
The defendant was there?
Yes.
Did you know the defendant was going to be there? So when you walked into the house, who was present?
Annie, Jimmy, and Stephanie.
Who's Stephanie?
And she's another friend of ours.
And the defendant?
Yes.
What happened when you got there?
When I got there, I walked in the door. Christy was standing on the opposite side of the room. I asked her where my CD was. She just kind of stood there looking at me. And I said, you heard me, where is my CD? She said, at my house. And I said, well, you better get it. And she asked why I was yelling at her. I said, because I didn't like her anyways, and her stealing my CD was the last straw. She asked me why I didn't like her. There was more arguing during this time, but when I said that I didn't like her, I said it was because she was a scandalous. And I went to walk into the kitchen, and I turned my back. She was sitting in a chair.
She was sitting?
Yes, she was sitting. By this time, she was sitting.
Was she sitting at the time that you came in and started calling her names?
No.
She was standing?
Yes.
But then she sat down?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went to walk into the kitchen. I saw her out of the corner of my eye come at me. So I turned around. She went to hit me. I blocked her hit, put her in a headlock. So I had her in a headlock, and she was hitting me, and I was hitting her. She couldn't get away from me, so she turned me sideways, pushed me to the ground, snapping my ankle in 2 places. And Annie came over and pulled her off of me. When she did, Christy kicked me while I was on the ground. And then Annie helped me up. I walked into their computer room because that's where Stephanie was. It was about 10 feet. And Annie came in to see if I was all right, and I said, no, you need to take me to the emergency room. I can't walk. Jimmy came and picked me up and carried me to the car. While he was carrying me to the car, she was standing on the steps of the front of their house, yelling, you stupid, get back here, I'm going to kick your ass. I couldn't even stand. So Jimmy puts me in the car, and we're going to the emergency room. I told Annie, I said, she hit me first. Annie goes, I know, but she's only 17.
She didn't hit you first. That's not what you just told me. It's not what you just told me at all. You said
she went to hit me, and I blocked her hit. She was still coming at me, and that's why I put her in a headlock. That's not what you said to me. You said, according to you, she went to hit you, you blocked her, and put her in a headlock. That's what you just told me. And I put her in a headlock because she was still coming at me. And we were
what did you
hitting
do
each
when you put her in a headlock?
She was hitting me, and I was hitting her.
So you had a fight?
Yes.
And you got the worst of it?
She pushed me to the ground and busted my ankle.
She pushed you to the ground during the course of a fight that you started.
She came at me.
She pushed you to the ground during the course of a fight that you started.
I was walking away from the situation and she came at me from
After you had
behind.
started it.
So
if you were going to testify, is that what you would? Perfect. Somebody's going to always get the worst of a fight. Isn't that right, Bird?
It's usually how it happens, Judge.
Usually how it happens. This time you got the worst of the fight. You walked into your friend's house and created a scene, and you didn't get any response from her the first time. You said to her, give me the blank CD. Give me the blank CD. Then, clearly, according to you, I'm not even going to her. According to you, she was standing, but then she sat down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you continued to call her names.
We were yelling at each other.
She didn't start yelling at you. You walked in and immediately, according to you, started to call her foul names. Right?
Yeah.
So you got a broken ankle? Huh?
Well,
you got a broken ankle during the course of the fight?
Yes.
That's what happens.
You may step out. Now, this is case number 282 on the calendar in the matter of Dawkins versus Morris. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Young lady, have a seat, please.
All right, this is a little complicated. Let me see if I can simplify it. Miss Dawkins, according to your complaint, about a year ago, your boyfriend was arrested and was incarcerated. The defendant was a friend and also was a paralegal by trade. You claim that you paid the defendant $2,500, that she said that she had an attorney who would be very good for your boyfriend, and that the $2,500 was a retainer. And then later, when he was given a public defender, she said that she would work with the public defender to file motions and do other things in her capacity as a paralegal. Is that correct?
Yes.
Subsequently, you found out from the attorney, the public defender, who had been assigned to represent your boyfriend, that he told her to stay out of it and not do anything. So you want your $2,500 back.
Right.
Is that this case?
That's it.
Ms. Morris says that the $2,500 was in fact paid to her, but it was for the return of a loan. Now, first tell me, just for my own information, what was your boyfriend arrested for?
It's for a murder. He's still in prison right now.
And he still has a public defender?
Right.
Did the attorney who Ms. Morris said that she had that would be very good for your boyfriend, did he ever appear in court?
No.
When did you give her this $2,500?
In November 2000.
Did you give it to her in check or cash?
I sent her a money order with cash.
You have a copy of that money order?
Yes.
I'd like to see it, please.
Well, Western Union.
I'd like to see it. I'd like you to tell me, Ms. Dawkins, about the discussion that you had with her when you sent her this check.
Like you said, my boyfriend had went to prison, and because of that, we called on Paulette for legal advice, and she told us that she would see what she could do. And she told me that he would need a lawyer, and she had a friend that she was going to talk to. So she did that. I talked to Paulette a couple days later, and she told me that if I got $10,000, that we would be able to retain this lawyer. All I had at that time was $2,500, and his mother tried to come up with the rest of the money, but we couldn't. So he was given a conflict panel attorney, and we left it alone because we knew we weren't going to come up with the rest of the money. Then she told me that she had spoke with his attorney and that they agreed to work on that.
The attorney who was assigned
to him, yes. She told me that she had spoke with him and that they agreed to work on the case together, but since he got paid through the state, that I would have to give her the money that I had already had, the $2,500, for her to file the motions and to do some research on her own on my boyfriend's behalf.
Is that when you sent the money?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I sent the money from out of state because I was out there with some family. When I came back from out of state, I had got a hold of his attorney, and he told me that he told Paulette not to get involved with the case because she couldn't do anything but hurt it. I got suspicious about it because I had talked to my boyfriend. He told me Paulette had not attended any court dates since I had sent her the money.
Okay. Ms. Morris, I will hear you.
First of all, Your Honor, I've never seen or met Jessica before in my life. This is my first time ever laying eyes on her. As far
as... You were a
as,
friend of her boyfriend's?
Yeah, he calls me Mom. I'm kind of like a mentor to him.
And not such a good mentor if he's in jail for murder.
No, that...
Okay, go ahead.
Try to find a job. He really was pushing the pedal and finding a job. He eventually found a job. The date that he started his job, he got arrested, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Prior to that, I had loaned the ex-boyfriend a total of $1,200 to help him with her to move into an apartment complex to get on his feet. And he told me that he would pay me back $100 a month. Mom, I will pay you $100 a month until I pay you back. And that's fine, it's no problem. I'm a gambler, Your Honor.
So, you loaned him $1,200?
I loaned him $1,200.
Right.
And what he asked me to do was to find him an attorney, which I did. I had a friend who practices in criminal law. I have never, and I really get offended when someone refers to me as a paralegal because I've never even held myself out to be a paralegal. I don't even do paralegal work.
I'm not following you, Ms. Morris. Is it your claim that you loaned the ex-boyfriend money, and this $2,500 was repayment of that loan?
$1,200.
$1,200.
Okay.
Okay.
Now-
No, is that your claim? The $1,200 is a repayment of the loan?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the rest of the money for?
Okay. I went on behalf of him, and I've gathered a lot of information out on the streets that I could get a lot better than investigators could get. And I gave the information to an investigator for the attorney. And at some point, I didn't feel comfortable with it, so I gave the rest of the information to the MET unit, which is like a SMASH unit, a drug unit. In the meantime, Randy called me and asked me if I would take, first he called my daughter to ask if she would take his son, because his son was in some very serious danger. The son at the time was only 14 months old. Miss Dawkins here was in possession of Randy's son when the murder occurred. He was begging my daughter to take the baby. My daughter couldn't. So he says, I'll ask Mom. And I told him I would do it for $2,500 until he gets out, because raising a baby is not cheap. They couldn't come up with the full $2,500, so I said, okay, the 12 and the 13, $2,500, I will go ahead and do it. When you get out, him, the ex-boyfriend, and her were supposed to take the baby. Well, it ends up that he's still there. He's not in prison, Your Honor.
Where is he?
He's in a county jail. He's not been tried. He's not in prison. The
He's
case
in
is still
county jail.
pending.
He's whatever.
Yeah.
He's not free.
Right.
Where did you get this money from, Miss Dawkins?
I had it saved up. And I have a letter.
This is your money?
Yes. I have a letter from Randy showing exactly why she took the money. It doesn't say anything about...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jessica Dawkins says she gave money to her ex-boyfriend's friend, Paulette Morris, so she could retain a lawyer on his behalf.
Let me tell you the problem with your defense, Miss Morris. Your loan agreement was not with the plaintiff. Your loan agreement, if I believed you, was with a person who was incarcerated. And there is no proof that the person who was incarcerated paid that money, that she paid the money.
However, there is, Your Honor.
Tell me what that is.
The reason I'm being brought here today is because Ms. Dawkins found out that my daughter Kyla here found out about that, and that's when holy hell came about. Her problem is between her and my daughter and Randy.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 19 years old.
What do you mean she was seeing Randy?
My daughter had a boyfriend at the time. Jessica was with Randy at the same time. They were all kind of hanging out and having fun together. I had no idea that they were seeing each other, other than being friends.
Let me ask you this question, Ms. Dawkins. When did you have that telephone conversation?
I've had several conversations with her.
Relative to the $2,500?
Probably around June or July that I spoke with her and asked her about the money.
What do you mean asked her about what?
Because this is when I found out. This is when I had got back and I had spoke with Randy. He told me she had not been to his court dates. Since I gave him the money, he hasn't heard from her. So I had called her up to see what was going on with that money and why she wasn't doing what she promised. And that's when she told me she had the baby, and I have never had custody of Randy's son, ever.
Who asked you to send this money?
She asked me to send this money to her.
Did you speak to Randy first?
Yes, but he did not tell me to give her the money. I didn't speak with Randy that much because they're collect calls. I can't speak with him that much. I spoke with the defendant, and she told me she would need the money to file motions and do research.
Miss Morris, where is this child now?
The child is residing with me. In January, I will be adopting the child. I have a letter here from Randy as well, asking the judge court, and it is in the papers, as to him wanting me to take the baby. As far as me not going to Randy's court appearances or anything, he requested me not to for the safety of the baby.
Well, this letter does not give you the ability to adopt the child.
No, I
have. It does not give his consent.
I have the,
Did you file a petition to adopt the child?
I have the petition for guardianship.
Guardianship is not adoption.
No, the laws have changed. Within 1 year, in January, the adoption procedures will be...
Will start,
exactly.
Can start. His parental rights have to be terminated. Where's
within
the mother?
1 year. The mother is in a youth halfway home. She just got out of juvenile hall.
Are you paid any money by the state?
Now I am.
Morris?
Yes, I am.
Let me finish. There is a procedure that is used in this country. It's called kinship foster care, or foster care with someone that you know. So the state gives you money every month for taking care of the baby. How much do you receive from the state?
$406.
And how long has the child been with you?
The child has been receiving payments in about March.
So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So you've received 8 payments?
Approximately, yes.
Is that right? So you've received $3,200 so far. So this money that you say he's supposed to give you for taking care of the child, you have been reimbursed for taking care of the child.
Oh,
by
yes,
the state.
I had no choice.
By the state.
Right.
By the state.
And what happened was when the child was brought to me, the child came to me with just a shirt, a dirty diaper, and a bottle. I had to completely furnish a room, completely buy all clothing, all items that a baby would need to
The
sustain
state
him.
also gives you a stipend for that clothing allowance.
No, I got that later on.
But I know that you get a clothing allowance and a stipend, and also money to furnish a room.
$100.
I know that you get. I know that you get that.
$100.
So don't say no. Yes, you do. You get $100 for what?
A year.
For what?
For a clothing allowance.
Okay. Well, you get $400 a month. The child that age doesn't eat.
The child wears diapers. The child had bottles.
Right.
The child needed clothing.
Right.
The child has daycare. I work.
No, you don't pay for the daycare for the child.
Exactly. It comes from
exactly.
the
So
money.
don't tell me you have daycare because the state pays for the daycare for
No,
the child.
it comes out of the $400.
No. The state pays for daycare with daycare vouchers if
That
you're
is not
working.
true, Your Honor.
I don't know what state you come from.
He's not a foster child, Your Honor. He's a ward. He's my ward. I'm his legal guardian. When I do put him into a facility, once he's potty trained, it goes according to my income.
So who babysits for the child?
Whoever I can get to babysit for him.
Who do you get to babysit for
Usually
the
my
child?
relatives or some really
Right.
close friends.
Okay.
And
I
also,
gotcha.
Your Honor, okay, on the other point, the papers that I'm showing here where I did give Randy the money for him and the apartment for him and Jessica, which they both were dwelling in, is here. My daughter been there.
You're living in an apartment that she helped fund?
No, I didn't know anything about that. If she helped Randy fund an apartment, then Randy needs to pay her back.
Right.
Did she
right.
reside
I did
in the
not know.
apartment?
Doesn't make any difference.
I didn't know anything about any
The
money
loan
that he
was
gave
not made
her.
to her. The loan was made to him. If you had a misjudgment, Ms. Morris, with regard to the person to whom you made a loan, you can't visit that on her. And there is no proof that the money that she sent you, the $2,500, came from Randy.
I know it didn't come from Randy.
Well, if it didn't come from Randy, it has to go back to her. And if he ever gets out of jail because you say he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, then I assume that he will be acquitted of these horrendous charges. And at that time, I assume he'll pay you the money back that he owes you. But that's not her responsibility. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that it was behind jealousy because of my daughter and her ex-boyfriend.
There are plenty of men out there. I don't need to hold on to someone that's in jail that's going to mess with someone like that.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Luster versus Fair. Step forward.
22-year-old makeup artist Kelly Luster is suing her ex-boyfriend, 33-year-old general contractor Herbert Fair, for unpaid credit card charges and for the balance of a computer.
Ms. Lester, according to your complaint, the defendant is your former boyfriend.
Correct.
And there was a time when you allowed him to make purchases on a credit card.
Correct.
When you broke up, you put and said that you no longer wanted him to be able to make purchases on it, and the next day or something he made $677 worth of payments on the credit card. You say that there have been no payments on that amount, and you want him to pay you that amount because you're not together anymore, and you don't want to be bothered with him and come chasing him, and the bank is looking for you, and it affects your credit.
Correct.
In addition, you allowed him to purchase a computer on your credit card.
We opened up a gateway account, and it was under my name because I had good credit. And we paid the payments together. We lived together for about 3 years, and the payments were fine. We paid them together. And as soon as we broke up, I was paying the payments, and the computer remained at his house.
He agrees that he put that money on the credit card, $677.
I do.
And what's left on the computer is what?
The amount is $1,357.88.
Now, Mr. Fair says he did pay for a substantial amount of the computer, and he does acknowledge that there is an additional amount owing on the computer. His defense is that he made some sort of a loan for some plastic surgery that you had.
It doesn't matter what the loan was, Your Honor. I just basically...
He loaned me money.
I lent her money. I just...
Well, that's what you say in your answer.
Doesn't
So you
matter
want to
what
tell
it
me
is.
about this loan that you say negates the $677 as well as the $1,357 that's left on the computer that is in your possession.
This is true.
Well, tell me.
Well,
What
basically,
loan did you
know,
make her?
I gave her a loan. It doesn't really matter what it was. I mean, I was basically, putting her through school and doing some things, for her. And basically, I felt that I didn't have to make the payments no more on the computer because of so much money that I've invested into this relationship
Your Honor,
as well.
Your Honor, I paid him back the loan that he gave to me. So that has nothing to do with the computer. I paid him back every single dime that he lent me. So it has nothing...
Did you?
Yes.
But she was supposed to pay me back, but she didn't pay me back on time.
But I still paid him back. He was still paid back. I mean...
How much did you borrow from him?
I borrowed $3,000 from him, and he was paid back every single dime.
that
He wasn't
correct,
paid
sir?
back exactly.
I was paid
the
it
time.
back, yeah, but not the time that I was told that I was going to be paid back.
Were you paid back before you broke up?
Yes.
Yes.
So it wasn't an issue.
Yes, I don't even know why he's even bringing that up.
I think he's just using that because he knows that he owes me for these things.
So what is your defense, sir? I don't know what your defense is, Mr. Fair. If that's
well,
not your
basically,
defense.
I mean, like I said, you know, 3.5 years of being into this relationship with her and stuff, and I took care of her basically for 3.5 years. I felt that I didn't need to pay these both bills, and these are basic. So.
As you can see, why I don't want to be with him any longer. I paid him back every single dime.
He says that you paid him back.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the money that he owes me. And he knows that he owes me this money, and he's just trying to make excuses and make up stupid things. I even have proof. I have the bills if you want to see them.
He doesn't deny the bills, Ms. Lester. He doesn't deny the bills, and he doesn't have a defense. So judgment
Never does.
Judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,034.
Thank you.
ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਲ ਤੇ ਲਾ ਕੁੜੀਏ ਦਿਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਨੀ